This is where you realize number one, you're either a winner or a loser. Look, I 50x my income when I changed my life. I'm doing better than everyone else I know. No, I'm not even joking.
Hello. Oh, Bubby's moved. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bubba got a haircut. Everyone tell him how handsome he is. How's everybody doing tonight? I gotta put my phone on DND so people leave me alone. Stop texting me. I'm busy. What is up, everybody? How's everybody feeling? I was going through the soundboard before we got started here, and I just have a quick question for you guys. I just want to know.
Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling empowered? Are you feeling relief? Are you feeling, how does that feel?
How does it feel to be here on this here Monday Eve or Tuesday morning if you're in Australia? What is up? Oh, Monica says, I have my Sunny D vodka seltzer ready. I did not know Sunny D made vodka seltzers. That is news to me. I have on deck La Croix, as we would say here in a French Canadian. If you're in the US, you probably say LaCroix. Anyway, this coconut flavored. It's actually pretty tasty, let me tell you. I've been on a big coconut kick lately. I've been putting coconut syrup in my morning latte. Delicious. 3 flamingos. That's the attitude we need. She says, good morning, beautiful. Let's get scammed. I mean, rich. Everybody here is ready to get rich. That is why we have gathered here today. If you're new here, hi. Sorry. Alexa says, hello all. I am ready to get rich today. That is the attitude we need. 6 figures is a thing of the past. So true, Monica. So true. Now it's 7 figures. Welcome to the next century. That is the vibe. Suzanne says, I feel lousy. I have a cold. I need to manifest wellness. No bueno. You know what? To that, I will say this.
Now, easy. You can just learn how to clear them off and be literally fine.
Just learn how to clear off the illness and you'll be literally fine. So write that down. Just made a fresh cup of espresso. Delicious. Love it. Tasty. Olipop. Love it. I've only had Olipop once. We don't have it in Canada, I don't think. Anyway, I only ever had it when I went to the States. But I tried a raspberry flavored Poppy last week. It was so good. Wait, was it Poppy? I don't think it was Poppy. I think I'm lying. I think it was Cove Soda. Do you guys have Cove Soda in the US? It's like a Canadian, started as a kombucha company, but I guess the formula doesn't pass the regulations for kombucha, so they had to rebrand to soda. Anyway, it's really good and like very low in calories because it's got artificial sweetener in it, I assume. But it's similar. It's like a prebiotic soda. Again, I always apologize every week, but if you're watching the replay, skip to like 5 minutes because I always spend the first 5 minutes talking about beverages because that's my life. We love ourselves a good old manifesting boss babe, don't we, chat? I would have to agree with that. Absolutely. We are in for a treat this week. So for those of you that were here last week, we watched a woman share a masterclass. She called it. It wasn't a masterclass. It was her yapping for 2 hours. Anyway, that woman is the coach of the woman we're going to watch today. So maybe like a year ago, I actually don't remember when that stream was. There was a stream we did where we listened to a coach and her client basically argue with each other for an hour. Anyway, now we're going to take a look at that client. So we looked at that coach last week, and now we're going to look at the client of that coach, who is apparently going to teach us how to become millionaires. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Raise your hand if you want to get rich.
Ooh, my husband is on the way home with a Dr. Pepper. Is it going to be on draft? You know, like a nice, tasty, nothing beats a crispy Diet Coke on draft from McDonald's. Yes. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and jump in. Since we're at the 5-minute mark, I have shared my favorite bubbly beverages for the day. Bubba is on a hunger strike right now. His food is behind me. You can see it. So he might start eating at some point. I don't know. It's just been waiting. The corgi ate his breakfast this morning. She also might make an appearance. But alas. So I had to feed him again, but now he won't eat it. So I don't know what's up with that guy. Okay. What was I doing? This is what I was doing. Okay. We're here. We're back. We're here. It's now an ASMR channel. I'm just going to whisper for the next hour. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Don't worry. Mojito soda. That sounds yummy. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. If you're not interested in bubbly drinks, again, skip ahead. Always. Okay, so this is the sales page for this woman's mastermind. I think this is the right place to be. Basically, we're going to look at this and then we're going to go into her like free offer, which gives you access to like a preview of this mastermind. And it's like a bunch of 20-minute podcasts so we can listen to as many or as little as we want before we want to stab our ears or rip our ears off our heads. Exactly. Bubba is on a hunger strike until one of us breaks 6 figures. I think you're onto something. Zip says, some week when you're out of ideas, you could always go with the 2 hours of beverage talk stream. I will go to the store and I will buy one of every pop in the fridge. And then I will do a 2-hour stream of me taste testing and ranking every flavor of soda. Yes, very true. Aaron says, at least the text on this website is a little bit better than some of the others we have seen. I will say, like, even the, what's it called? Cursive font, you can actually read it. Sometimes the, like, color contrast, they'll put, like, light pink on white, and it's like, my eyes are burning. So, what was I even talking about? This is the mastermind. It says where 6-figure bosses build 7-figure empires. So apparently, I guess it's geared towards people who are already making 6 figures, but want to learn how to make 7 figures. And it's a 1-year-long membership to less sweat, but more sales, whatever that means. So I don't even remember how I got here, but I guess we can start by watching this video and then we'll kind of get into the podcast. So there's like a whole bunch of podcast episodes here that we can move into as well. My intention here is kind of to just, same as always, we'll give it a listen. We'll pull out the predatory tactics. We'll probably debunk some of what she's saying, presumably. And I think we're in for a treat. So let's go ahead and let her introduce herself and her mastermind. As always, let me know how the sound is.
If 2025 is meant to be your $1 million year, then I am so excited to invite you to apply for the Millionaire Mastermind, because this is really where 6-figure businesses become 7-figure empires. Millionaire Mastermind is an exclusive community, and it's your ticket to less sweat, but more sales, fewer breakdowns and more breakthroughs, and less work, but more.
She's very clearly reading off the screen, not only from the inflection of her voice, but the fact that her eyes keep doing this while she's talking. It just comes off as a little bit, not for me.
Or leverage. Hi, my name is Sabrina Phillip, and I'm an online business coach for women entrepreneurs. I started my business back in 2016, and I went 0 to $1 million in 9 months. Since that time, I've served over 10,000 clients. I've built an 8-figure business, and I have helped over 35 women scale their business to the $1 million a year mark. So I really love to say that because, yes, I've had some huge wins, right? $100,000 cash months, $200,000 cash months, $300,000 cash months, selling $400,000 in 40 minutes, $1 million launches. All of that is true. I've been in Forbes, Business Insider, Grazia, Entrepreneur. But look at how much money my clients are making, right? Because that's why I do this. I'm a coach. It would be so easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to sell courses all day, have my little funnel, and, just take a nap or whatever. And I very much believe in funnels. I help clients launch them all the time. I have a client who we got her funnel from $0 to $10,000 in a month. And then now 3 months later, it's at $60,000 a month. And next month, she is going to have a 6-figure funnel. So we got her a 6-figure funnel per month in 4 months. I love me a funnel, but my passion is in coaching. My passion is in partnering deeply with my clients and building those relationships that create seven-figure businesses. That is what I love doing. So let me tell you a little bit about Millionaire Mastermind and how it works and who it's for. So the first thing to go ahead and say about this community is that it is intimate and it is exclusive. So in order to apply, your business must already be at the six-figure mark. So you should be making at least $10,000 a month in your business. But we have people often come in making much more than that, $20,000 a month, $40,000, $50,000 a month. But you're coming in already with a six-figure business and your goal is a seven-figure plus business. So to give you some examples of some of the results that we see inside of this program, Amy had a $450,000 cash month and $1 million launch. So she built a multi-million-dollar program inside a Millionaire Mastermind. Melissa had her first $100,000 cash month. Marie scaled to seven figures and she bought a house. She actually bought 2 houses. Lynette doubled her revenue. Megan had a $112,000 cash month. Donata had a $60,000 cash month. Danielle hit 7 figures. Isabella had a $100,000 cash month.
It's me. I'm the Danielle she's talking about, guys. I just wanted to use this live stream as the opportunity to let you guys know that my imaginary coaching business just hit 7 figures. Woo! That's a joke. She's not talking about me, okay? Let the record show.
So many other results that I could just go on and on and on. But really, there's a huge focus on getting you to that 7-figure mark. That is what this program is designed for, and that is what this program will do. When you come in and you're ready to work strategically and mindfully and really think about your business as a business. And the way that we do that is it is both a group program and a private coaching container. And I think both are very important for your results. So the group program element is extremely critical because you want to be in the right space. You don't want to be the richest person in the room. You want to be richer than you were yesterday. You want to be stretched and inspired by people who are doing more than you. But you also want to be in a safe container with people who understand what it is that you're going through, who understand the challenges that come up when you're suddenly the breadwinner for your family.
This lady is so boring. I need to speed it up. I cannot.
And, you know, when you are worried about, I'm making all of this money, am I still a good person? Am I still a good mom?
Well, the whole good person question, obviously it's up for interpretation. I don't think there's like an objective answer, but I really think that if we have to ask ourselves if we're still a good person while we make money, perhaps what we're doing isn't the most honest. I'm just saying, I've never had to, receive money from a client, invoice them, get paid, and then ask myself, am I a good person? Because I know that what I'm doing isn't a scam. So might be a red flag if you're making money and you have to ask yourself whether or not what you're doing is good. Okay, I'm just saying.
Still a good daughter? What does it look like to suddenly have all of this responsibility when a year ago or 2 years ago, you couldn't pay your grocery bill? Entrepreneurship is just like such a fast track to personal growth because it requires so much of you. And this container is that safe space to hold you in that rocket ship. We have mastermind calls. They happen 3 times a month. They're 90 minutes each, and we cap them to 15 people. And the reason why is I don't want you sitting on a group coaching call for 2 hours waiting to ask your question. That's not relevant to you. That's not helpful to you, but also you are not a number, right? You are going to be in an intimate container with the right people that is very highly curated, all with the same goal, 7 figures plus. And you're going to be able to connect. We're going to have these big conversations. It's not just going to be like, hi, here's my question. These are going to be both open Q&A and guided facilitated conversations around important topics like, how do I build out systems? How do I structure my team? Who do I hire? How much do I pay them? Where do I find them? Where do I freaking find an online business manager who's going to do all of these things for me? What funnels do I need in place for my business? Do I need a quiz funnel? Do I need a slow funnel? A slow funnel is a low or self-liquidating offer. How do I do upsells? How do I do downsells? What's deadline funnel? Who's going to do the tech for me? All of that is going to be talked about. Money management. Now that I'm making all of this money, what the heck do I do with it? Like, you could go buy a Chanel bag, sure, or also you can invest it. So we're going to be talking about, money mindset and marketing and how do I use ChatGPT and artificial intelligence inside of my business. So it's a very mindful and strategic conversation around how do we make big progress in your business.
Okay, but this isn't coaching. And this is like something that I had to learn when I left the industry. And I think it's something that's perpetuated by most of these like big name coaches, as they call themselves, like high level business strategy, where to invest your money. That shouldn't be anything that you're discussing with a coach. That should be something you're discussing with maybe a business consultant, maybe a financial advisor, maybe you hire like a chief operating officer for your company that's going to help you navigate that. But like, if we look at the traditional definition of coaching, which is like asking powerful, pointed questions to guide people to their own answers, I don't really think you should be talking high-level strategy with a coach, right? Like, and maybe this is just semantics, I don't know, but it's frustrating to me to see someone who is like this high up in the pyramid not even really understand what actual coaching is and continue to perpetuate this model. Like, I think that in itself speaks to a greater problem in the industry as a whole. But like, if the people who are the biggest players in the game don't even know what coaching is, how do we fix this problem?
But also, how do I connect deeply with the people around me? So that's the group mastermind element. And there's a group Telegram channel to connect with the other women, because I do think it is so important to find women who are doing the same things, especially when you're growing as quickly as you are, because you want people around you who are lifting you up and cheering you on. Equally, though, you want very personalized strategy. You want a coach who has done it before herself, but who has a track record of doing it for others. I've helped 35 women scale their business to 7 figures.
Okay, so I don't know if anyone was paying attention earlier, but she made a comment that I wanted to touch on and I missed. She said she's had over 10,000 clients. And of those 10,000 clients, you've only helped 35 of them make $1 million. She just said, I've helped 35 people scale to $1 million. But earlier you said you had 10,000 clients, which I have a thought on that as well. But hold on. That is 0.35% of success rate of clients making $1 million. You call yourself $1 million coach and you have $1 million mastermind, but only 0.35% of your clients are making $1 million. The math is not mathing for me, but what I wanted to bring up earlier is when she says, and this is something, this isn't unique to this woman. I see so many coaches do it, and every time I raise my eyebrow. So many of these people will say things like, I've had 10,000 clients. And yet I know for a fact this woman sells, and she said it herself, she sells a bunch of like low ticket offers that lead into a funnel, presumably to get you to buy whatever. So let's just say she sells like a $27 training. My guess is that she is counting every single person that has ever bought any of her offers, whether it's like a $5 template or a $200 masterclass. She's counting those people as clients to be able to inflate the number of clients that she's served, which to me is kind of bullshit. Like, I don't know, maybe you guys can share your thoughts in the comments, particularly if you have a service-based business, not necessarily in coaching, but just in general. I personally don't consider anyone who's ever bought something from me to be a client of mine. Like, for example, I sell digital products. Many of you probably know that. I have like a bookkeeping template, for example, that I sell. And I've sold at this point thousands of copies of that. You don't see me posting on my website that I have thousands of clients, because that's literally not true. Just because someone buys a thing that you sell, I guess, like, in a sense, sure, they're a customer of you. But I don't know. To me, it seems misleading to use it as a credential to try and sell something else that's not really related and is much more like high ticket. Like, if I decided tomorrow I was going to become a coach, I'm not going to all of a sudden be like, well, I have 2,000 clients, even though the clients are just the people that bought my bookkeeping template. Like, unless they're actually buying the thing that you're selling, I don't really think that it's fair to use that as like qualification as to why people should buy from you. But also, I just find it funny that she's like using it to like boast her numbers and then basically outing herself 5 minutes later by saying only 35 out of 10,000 people have actually been successful. Okay, sorry, I'm just catching up on the comments. For sure. This comment here says it's business consulting and they often blur executive coaching with business consulting, but they only know how to do digital marketing. That's not enough to qualify as a consultant either. It's an MLM. Exactly. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah. 0.35% of the time, it works all the time. So true. So true. Her ideal audience doesn't do math. Math is low vibe. Math is for the poors, okay? If you have to live on a budget and you got to type in those numbers into a little calculator, You're a poor person and I don't want anything to do with you. I feel like sometimes I take things or I say things on these streams that if they were taken out of context, guys, I would get canceled very quickly. Don't bring logic and ethics into this. My bad. So sorry about that. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. Harrison's one of my clients because he bought my $5 template, which in the US is probably like $3 because the exchange rate is so terrible. Yes. Okay. Who has time for 10,000 clients? That's exactly it. It's like, why are you lying? Why are you lying? Why you gotta be lying? I don't get it. Amy, thank you so much. Amy sent a $2 super chat and says, am I a client? I donated for Bubba's Barber Fun. I will add you to the list. I'm going to put you on my website and say, this is my client, Amy. And that will then lead Amy to say this.
You sit on a throne of lies.
I am a big fat liar. Amy, thank you so much. And I just want to give you this.
And I want nothing from you. It's free. Free.
I want nothing from you. Okay? But I do have this piece of advice for you.
Either get there or die trying, but damn sure don't be average.
Don't be average, because being average is for losers. Big fat losers.
I was exhausted being a loser. Now I'm exhausted being a winner.
And being a loser and a winner is exhausting. So I digress. Yes, they sure inflate their numbers. Ain't that the truth? So true. Aaron says it might be cheaper in the US, but we pay for it in other ways. I do actually want to take a moment and just extend my sincere condolences to those of you who are in the US watching this live stream. Everything that I've been seeing on the news, primarily via TikTok, let's be honest, I don't watch like the actual news. Heartbreaking, horrible, absolutely horrific. And I just feel so sad for so many people. Because that must be just like such a helpless situation to find yourselves in. So, sending you big hugs, big parasocial hugs. We're all friends here. We're all family, just like a cult. Okay, guys? Here's the sound.
Now you are one of us. One of us. One of us.
Marette, don't worry. You're just in time. The wealth and abundance is flowing. Okay? Okay. Sparkle Horse says, I have a particular axe to grind with this woman because my friend bought a course from her and it was horrendous. I saw the product which she sold for $1,200 and it was a PowerPoint presentation. Oh my God. These people are crazy. I swear to God. It's like, what is the bare minimum of effort I can put into a product and sell to people? It's either going to have to be voice notes or a PowerPoint presentation where I just do like a voiceover and I film it and record it from my couch. Sounds great. Love it. So I guess your friend is technically one of her 10,000 clients. Lucky her. Also very, very true. Thank you so much. Harrison donated a $2 super chat and says, Daniel Ryan certified life coach equals I am a client. You and Monica actually are the first two clients of the Daniel Ryan life coach school. And I just want to remind you both of this.
Have you really got that you are God?
You guys are God because you are certified life coach.
I'm always baffled when people don't have a life coach or don't want one. I'm like, what? It's the most amazing thing ever.
And you too, watching this stream, could become a Daniel Ryan certified life coach if you donate $2 to the super chat. I guess Harrison is now double certified since he has technically donated $4. $1,000%. The bare minimum is a Telegram channel. It's like a Facebook group, but shadier. Oh my God. There was this person messaging me on Instagram and they kept asking. They wanted advice on like a coaching program that they had bought into or whatever, but they kept asking me to Telegram them. I'm like, dude, I don't have Telegram. Leave me alone. And I'm not giving my phone number to people I don't know. You can message me on Instagram or send me an email, but I ain't texting nobody on Telegram. I don't have Telegram. I put it on my LinkedIn, waiting for the riches any day now. Just know that I get a cut of the commission for every client. Like a true MLM, if someone hires you as their life coach, you owe me 10%. And no, we don't have a contract. I'm telling you verbally. And I will send my lawyers after you. How old is she? She is, I think she's about my age, maybe a couple years younger. I would guess she's about 30, 31 maybe. Yes, correct, Suzanne. Harrison is master certified. A master certified Danielle Ryan life coach. So true. Okay, I don't want to watch the rest of this video. This woman is putting me to sleep, and it's just a giant sales pitch, but we can read through the sales page. So everyone thinks you got success on lock, but you know there's still further to go. Millions of dollars to be made. More lives to impact. A bigger legacy to leave. And you're not going to stop until you've made it happen. The only problem is that what got you here won't get you there. You need a fresh strategy that's designed to scale, direct access to an experienced coach with proven track record, because you're tired of joining giant group programs and feeling like a number, and a serious tight-knit sisterhood that inspires you to your next level. The Millionaire Mastermind is an exclusive community for women who are ready to scale their way from 6 or multiple 6 figures all the way up to the coveted $1 million a year mark. I find it funny that she's like got this, like R means that it's like registered, right? Like a registered trademark. The Millionaire Mastermind, the most unoriginal name on the planet, and she registered it, the trademark for it. Crazy. We don't take anybody, and we don't do it like anyone else. We don't believe in going big for the sake of ego. Okay, you don't believe in going big for the sake of ego, yet your entire Instagram, which I have pulled up, is just talking about how much money you made. So which part of that isn't about ego? I'm confused. I'm lost. Somebody point me in the right direction, because the math ain't mathin'. Blah, blah, blah. This is for you if you have all this money and da-de-do-do-do-do-do. How much is it? Oh my God. It's one of these like 7-page long sales pages. Let's see. Okay. I am going to switch screens just for a second, because sometimes this forms always want to autofill my address. And guys, we're friends, but I don't want you to know where I live. My name is Jane Doe. Oh my God, I can't type today. I was talking to my friend earlier. I was like, I swear I'm not drunk. I just don't know how to spell. Ooh. What is your Instagram handle? Jane420. I'm like a 12-year-old sometimes. Describe your business. I'm just going to go, how much money are you making? A lot. Oh, so annoying. There's so many questions. So many questions. Okay, I can switch it back. All of these are just like silly questions asking about like why I want to join the program. I'm just answering gibberish. Okay, they're already showing us 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. Operating at a high level. What does that mean? The members are all making 6 figures, showing up fully and operating at a very high level. What does it mean to operate at a very high level? Can someone quantify that for me? I understand if you're like, okay, we're all, like she said, making 6 figures. Okay, that's quantifiable. I know what 6 figures is. It's more than it's more than $99,000, but less than $1 million. But what does high level mean? Operating at a high level. Is that in the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I act? What does that mean? Oh my God, I'm so ready. If I join the mastermind, I'll have 70. Okay, here we go. So it's $30,000 for the year, and you get a bonus VIP day, or you make 12 payments of $2,875. So those are your options. You can either pay $30K or you can pay $28.75 every month for the year. I'm paying in full, baby. Okay, so that's trash. I'm probably going to get kicked off her email list now that I've put my burner email in this thing, but alas. Okay, so this is allegedly a client, another one. This one here is super interesting. I have featured this woman on one of my original streams on this channel, so like 3 years ago now. This woman used to be a fitness influencer. So if anyone was big on like watching YouTube back in 2015, 2016, this woman was really big into like bodybuilding, and she was one of the OG fitness YouTubers. And in that era of time, if you're familiar with like Amanda Bucci, Marie Wald was another one, obviously. And then there was a few of them, Emily Hayden. They were all friends. They all lived in California together. And they were all individually fitness YouTubers and also fitness coaches, naturally, because they were like sharing their journey doing these fitness competitions. And then people wanted to hire them so they could do fitness competitions. So they became like fitness coaches, personal trainers. And then Marie and Amanda both switched into the like coaching other fitness coaches, which inevitably turned into like coaching any kind of coaches. And anyway, I digress. So Marie has worked with Sabrina for many, many years now. And it's been super interesting for me as someone who used to watch her as a fitness YouTuber to see the evolution of her getting like sucked into the girl boss business babe cult. And anyway, she's one of Sabrina's like $1 million success stories is the point of all that rambling. But I was actually looking at her Instagram the other day, and it's very interesting because she hasn't grown her followers since like 2016 when she was a fitness YouTuber. She's still at like 150K, but her engagement is so bad. Like it's like the same engagement I get on my account with 6,000 followers. So super, super interesting to see someone who had like a very devoted audience in fitness, just like 180 into the coaches pyramid. Part of the fitness coach to business coach pipeline, if you will. Okay, so for $30,000, you get 2 private coaching calls. Okay, wait. This program is 12 months long, an entire year, and I only get 2 one-on-one coaching calls in the entire year? What? And then 3 monthly group coaching calls. But you yourself said in your little promo video that you don't want it to be a race to the chat. And I don't want you all on these group coaching calls and not able to ask your questions. Well, if you genuinely wanted to be able to answer my questions, wouldn't you offer me more than 1 coaching or 2 coaching calls for the entire year? That is so crazy. $30,000 for 2 coaching calls. And then presumably, like 1 call every couple weeks. Group call. And then you get private Telegram access. Oh, and 2 exclusive in-person retreats. But your flights and accommodation are not included. So then what is included? If I gotta pay to fly to wherever you're hosting this retreat, pay for my flights, and then pay for my accommodation, what part is included? The fact that I get to like sit in the same room as you? Dumb. Oh, and then you get priceless access to your new high vibe crew. Love that. Okay, this is really interesting too. So this girl here, it's so funny how much lower I know on these people. This woman on the left was also a fitness coach in that era, Meg Yelaney. And then this woman on the right was also a fitness coach in that era, Lynette Marie. And I know this because I used to watch all these women on YouTube back in 2016. If you don't know this about me, but I watch probably 2 to 3 hours of YouTube every single day of my life, and I have for the last decade. So let's just imagine that I suddenly become a coach that coaches other coaches, and now every other anti-scam, anti-MLM YouTuber you watch also becomes a coach that coaches other coaches. Like, how weird would that be? And that's exactly what I saw. Like, this woman I used to watch on YouTube, this woman I used to watch on YouTube, Maria I used to watch on YouTube, Amanda I used to watch on YouTube, and now they're all coaches who coach other coaches to coach other coaches. How did we get here? I'm just not sure. Okay. Anyway, you also get access to all of her amazing courses, which, as we heard in the chat, allegedly are not very great. So I'm not convinced that any of this is worth $30,000 yet. I have yet to see the evidence that proves that it's worth it to me. Oh, goodness. This woman here as well. I've spent too much time in this rabbit hole, I swear to God. She was top of Beachbody back in 2018, 2017 maybe, and was one of the like OG internet coaches that I found right around, would have been like 2018, 2019. And so she went from being the top of the MLM into business coaching coaching other coaches. Okay, and then this is the Lynette woman I was talking about, who used to be a fitness influencer and now is a coaches coaching coaches, and then same with this woman. All of them follow the same pattern. Become a fitness influencer, start selling fitness coaching, start selling coaching to other fitness coaches, then just sell coaching to any kind of coach. Very, very interesting. It needs to be studied by someone more intelligent than I. How did we get here? I'm not sure. Okay, let me catch up on your comments and then we'll get into the 7-Figure Secrets podcast. Can't wait. Okay. That amount is more than half of my paycheck. Yeah, the 12 months payment, I would have no money left. 100%. Casually, $2,000 a month payment plan. You could rent here in Vancouver for that price. That's crazy. Especially USD. Oh my God. I wonder what that is. 2,800 USD in Canadian dollars. That's got to be like $4,000. On like in Australian dollars, even more. Okay. 28 USD to CAD. Yeah. $4,000 almost. And in Australian, it's $4,400 every month. That is so crazy. Most people don't even make that much money. Ay. I would love to be a fly on the wall to actually hear what they say to their clients, the conversations. This reminds me, I got an email last week. Piping hot tea, guys. I got to reply to that person. I'm going to write that down. Add it to my to-do list because I won't remember otherwise. Someone sent me an email saying that they are in a mastermind with some very popular characters here on this channel that we've watched many times. And they want to spill the tea. They're done with it. They've opened their eyes to the illusion and they're ready to spill the tea. So I got to answer that email because that could be some good content, baby content, if you know what I'm saying. Very, very true. Harrison says the fitness coach to business coach pipeline is what brought me into your $2 downline. And now I am so rich. But I just want to be clear about one thing.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not even a scheme per se.
We are not building a pyramid scheme here on the Danielle Ryan YouTube channel. It's a cult. Okay, get it right. Okay. Vibes and positive affirmations cost extra. Is one of the retreats in Times Square to see her on a billboard? Good idea. It is. It did say New York City, I do believe. Let's scroll up. Yeah, one is in Nashville and then the other one is in New York City. So, Aaron, you might be onto something. We might be going to another party if you know what I'm saying. I'd rather watch the Times Square famous girl ad with the rest of her cult than pay $30,000 to fly myself out to this one. Well, that's just your broke hater mindset talking, so we don't need that kind of negative energy around here. Launch Baby Launch was the one I was referring to, with a pink PowerPoint presentation with noise in the background and generic information. Okay, let's go and see right here, this one. There's nothing quite like an epic launch to catapult your business growth into the next stratosphere. Who writes this copy? Come on. And there's nothing quite like Launch Baby Launch to help you do it. This is a strategic, step-by-step process for launching your next course, mastermind, program, or offer with ease. Get the champagne ready because when you finally have that first 6-figure launch, you're going to want to pop it. Oh, baby. I wonder if there's a sales page for that. Work with me, courses, launch, baby, launch. Okay. So this is the one that allegedly was purchased by a friend of someone in the chat. And allegedly, it's not very good. Okay. La da 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 da. This is giving like Amanda Francis vibes, in my opinion. Okay, all these modules. I just want the price, man. 7 video trainings valued at $7,000. Yeah, okay. Oh, you don't even tell me you have to be on a wait list? Like, is this a joke? Also, she's using all the same clients as the other page. Like, I hate that. I hate when these people just like utilize the same 5 clients on every offer they have. Red flag. Why don't you have more clients that want to say nice things about you? I'm confused. Yes, Danielle knows his usual suspects. I really try not to pay that close attention, but some of them, I'm just like, I can't help it. But they're stuck in my brain. And I got tabs on all of you. More than my mortgage. With the money for New York billboard, you could buy all the billboards in my town. That's funny. This question is not related to today's stream, but it's asking if I've ever had unpleasant experiences from coaches or their assistants. The only time, okay, there's been like a couple times. One woman tried to send, I can't do this without laughing. A woman tried to send me a cease and desist for one of the videos I made. But she sent it to me personally through Instagram DMs. And told me if I didn't remove the video, her lawyer would be contacting me. So I asked one of my friends who is a lawyer, and he said if she was actually going to sue me, she wouldn't, like the lawyer would have advised her not to contact me. It would have come directly from whoever her lawyer is. So that was kind of funny. She sent me this like cease and desist through Instagram DM, but then she blocked me like a day later. So I couldn't actually see the message anymore because obviously if you block someone on Instagram, they can't communicate with you. So I saw it in my message requests folder. I screenshotted it and then the next day it was gone and I couldn't find her account. So she blocked me. The only other time other than that was I did a stream about a woman that was sent to me. This would have been, I don't know, 6 months ago. And then she wrote about it. She was really, I'm trying to remember the timeline. She posted about it on Facebook, her personal Facebook account, and someone who went to high school with her, I guess, screenshotted it and sent it to me saying that like this woman is losing her mind over your live stream. And then she came into the comment section on that video and accused me of a bunch of stuff, but then a bunch of you guys who are watching this, presumably, responded to her. And I also responded to her. And that was kind of the end of it. So other than that, I haven't really had much pushback as of yet. I mean, everything I talk about on this channel is just my opinion. I'm not stating anything definitively. I'm just kind of pointing out why I believe it's problematic and why I don't support them. And while they might not appreciate the fact that I'm shedding light on some of their allegedly, in my opinion, problematic behavior, nothing I'm saying is really like definitive in nature because I just think thoughts and share them on the internet, and that's the nature of fair use. So if you don't want to be judged, don't post videos and content on the internet, okay? And I welcome these people to make videos reacting to my content anytime they want. I'll be there. Let me know. Send me a link to the live and I'll jump in the chat for you. I love it. Yeah, if everyone is a coach, no one will be a client. So true. So true. Okay. Sorry, I'm so far behind in the comments. No kidding. $1,000 per video. Really undercharging us. I really am. You know, I'm sitting on a gold mine here, guys. I'm gonna start paywalling these live streams. It's gonna be $100 million per person per week. So you better start saving. Wasn't the cease and desist lawyer basically that coach's upline? Yes, we did. I forgot about that part of the story. So the woman who sent me the cease and desist through Instagram DMs, her lawyer, I don't actually know. I don't, that might have been a different situation, but there was a lawyer who is a lawyer for coaches, and she calls herself the Billionaire. I don't know. It's all pretty blurry, but I'm just saying, like, if I was going to sue somebody, I wouldn't be privately messaging them on Instagram DMs. I would be getting my lawyer to contact them. Isn't like the #1 rule of a lawsuit to not contact the person you're suing? Because that could like interfere with the actual lawsuit. I don't know. I was just like, this can't be real. Excuse me. People are hilarious. Exactly. Criticism is not illegal. You know what? People don't like me, and they leave it in the comments, and then I get to make funny videos about it, but they're entitled to those opinions. It's fine, you know? Think what you want to think and say what you want to say. I love it. I live for the good and the bad. Yes, not everyone can handle our alleged opinions. Aaron says, this week's live is a little bit unhinged, and I love it. I'm really sorry to those of you that wanted structure, because we're like an hour in, and I feel like we haven't done anything. I've just been yippity-yapping the whole time. I'm late. Hello. Welcome. You haven't missed anything. I've just been wasting everyone's time, let's be honest. Okay. We can get into the podcast. Now that we're at the 50-minute mark, perhaps it's time we get into the content. So, as you can see, we probably won't listen to all of these today, or we'll literally be here until midnight. But this, I don't know. I don't know how I got into this. It must have been a pop-up on her website or something. But basically, it is like a sneak peek at the mastermind, or it's like a sales pitch for the mastermind, and it's a series of podcasts. So it says paid, but it's not. It was free. And like normally, as those of you that have been here a while know, I will not ever pay for someone's offer and then show what's in it on the channel. I just ethically, that doesn't sit well with me, even if it's like a $7 offer. If someone has something behind a paywall, I'm not going to react to it. But if it's free, it's fair game. So we are going to listen to, we could probably listen to at least a couple of them. You guys can let me know what you want to listen to. So there are 5 episodes, I think. So first one is Stop Selling Your Time and Let It Be Easy, the shift from employee to entrepreneur. The second one is How to Have a 7-Figure Launch, the key to quantum leaping. Personally, I think that one sounds like it could be a good time. Third one is On Repeat, the sales and marketing funnels that will scale your business. Next, we have the Millionaire Mindset Method, the identity upgrade you need. And then last, we have How I Turned $800 into an 8-Figure Empire. So I'm open for any of them. You guys can let me know in the chat which one you want to start with. They're each 30 minutes, so we could probably listen to 2 of them, and then we'll kind of see how we're feeling from there. But let us know. Let me know. Alexa says, read us the cease and desist. Let me see if I can find it. I think I have it saved on my phone. While you guys vote about what we're going to watch, I'll see if I can find the cease and desist. Cease and desist. So stupid. Why? Oh my god, the iPhone Photos app is terrible. Where do I see my screenshots? Oh, okay, here we go. Oh my god, this was on my to-do list today to go through my screenshots on my phone. Guess who didn't do that? Me. I don't see it here. I must have it somewhere, but I don't know where. And I can't seem to find it in my screenshots, which is a shame. I do have the screenshots of the other lady's comments, though. Where did it go? Anyway. But yeah, it was hilarious, I assure you. We shall never cease nor desist. So true. So true. I made 12 reels for a money mindset coach, cut from long form YouTube videos, and downloaded 50 personal photos just for her to pay me $20. Oh my God. How did that happen? Did you invoice her and she just didn't pay you? That is so crazy. These people are snakes, I tell you. Whichever one is the most rambly and word salady. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'll just pick one. We'll listen to the quantum leaping one because that's just nonsense. Okay. Let's get this started and I'll see if I can find that cease and desist. I have another thought of where I might be able to locate it.
In this episode, we are going to be talking about the key to quantum leaping, and I'm going to be explaining how to have a 7-figure launch. Now, quantum leaping is a term that I think we all love to hear so much about. It feels fun and exciting and sexy to imagine that overnight you could quantum leap into an entirely different reality, into an entirely different income bracket.
Let's just let the record show that quantum leaping isn't a thing. It's not a real thing. Anyone who claims to be able to teach you how to quantum leap doesn't actually know what they're talking about. Okay? I just want to clear that up before we get started.
And everything would just feel so good to have that huge jump. And what I firmly believe, as someone who has been doing this for almost 10 years now, as someone who has built an 8-figure business, is that launches are the key to quantum leaping. If we are talking about how...
Okay, I found it. So this is a message I received. It says, "Hey Danielle, ! Clearly you know who I am and why I'm in your DMs. My husband and I find your video about Kingdom Coaching full of defamation concerning our brand in which you grossly misrepresented." I want the record to show, me, Danielle Ryan, that the video she's referring to, I think I named their program once, but as many of you who have watched a lot of my content know, I blur the faces in my long form content of pretty much everyone that I post. So I never named those people by name. I didn't name her. I didn't name her husband, and I didn't even show their face. So for her to call the video defamation, laughable. Alas, I digress. Please promptly remove your video to avoid further legal action on our end. Making a reaction video is one thing, but attempting to paint our business as a scam or misleading is simply untrue. You're likewise attempted, yeah, what? Okay, this is bad English. It doesn't make sense. It's not me not being able to read. Let the record show. You're likewise attempted to defame our character as preying upon Christians, which could not be further from who we are as individuals. To be clear, the video she's referencing is the master resale rights specifically targeted at Christians. It's called Kingdom Coaching, and it's a master resale rights program targeted towards people who follow Jesus. I have already reported and contacted YouTube for defamation. Likewise, I am making my lawyer, Michelle Miller, aware of this matter promptly. Please remove the video to avoid further legal action. I will note, YouTube never contacted me. I never got a copyright strike on that video. Never heard anything. Usually if someone reports your video, you get like a notification in YouTube Studio. Nothing. So they must have seen it and laughed in her face. And never heard from her lawyer either. So good times. That's it. That's just to answer the question from 20 minutes ago. That's the only real negative feedback I've received other than that woman that commented very aggressively on the live stream I did about her. So glad we got that cleared up. Let's get into the nonsense.
How do I make the biggest, fastest change to my income? How do I make the biggest, fastest change to my brand perception? How do I make the biggest, fastest change in my business? Period. It's to have a launch. If you were to make $100,000 overnight, $300,000, $1 million, which is something I'm going to be talking about in today's episode. If you could make that amount of money in a short period of time, I'm talking like 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks max. For me, I don't really have clients do 4-week launches, but let's say hypothetically a month-long launch. To make that amount of money in that time changes the entire game. Launches are the fastest way to quantum leap, period. Some people really struggle with launches. I feel like the industry for the last few years has really been going hard against launches, making it feel like you should be doing everything through evergreen models and through a funnel. And like, to be clear, we just had an episode about funnels, right? Like, I love evergreen enrollment. Like, we just talked about that. It's not either or, it's both and. And if you want to have a business that works really well and smoothly and functions and like just produces results day in and day out, and also lights you up and gets big results and constantly jumps to the next level, you want to have that great combination between, I have the funnels in place that are consistently bringing people into my audience, that are warming them up, that are selling them into my programs. And also, when I'm ready to make a huge jump to my next level, a launch is the best way to do that. And I'm going to explain to you in this episode why that is and how to do it. Before we talk about launches though, you know from the mindset episode that we cannot make anything happen until our mindset believes that something is possible. So the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the mindset and the energy around launches, because a lot of people will say like, launches are so hard, they're so tiring, they're so draining. Launches are not hard. Your stories about them are hard. The way that you have been running them is hard. A lot of people have just approached launches as like, I'm going to make as much content as possible every single day for like 3 weeks in a row and just like push that out. But that is just not sustainable. So my clients, when we're working on launches, we'll know about a launch a couple months in advance. Let's say, I have clients who, let's say they want to run a launch in January. We'll be talking about that in October. We want that launch pretty much wrapped up and fully planned before Thanksgiving so they can go into their, holiday season just relaxing. And then when January comes around, it's like press play. So that means we've outlined the emails, we've written the emails, I've reviewed the emails, we've looked at the webinar slide deck, we've like made a wait list, we've done a pre-sale. I had a client, she just had $150,000 cash launch, and she had the program starting after the holidays. So before the holidays, we did a pre-sale and we got people in, made tens of thousands of dollars that way just by selling super simply with, 2 or 3 emails. Hey, if you want this, come and grab it. Got people in that way. And then like the main event, the big show happened after the holiday season. So like my clients have a very smooth and easy relationship with launches.
Guys, this is so boring. Like, I don't care. I don't even know what the point of this is. I kind of want to switch to a different episode.
Like, they're not hard at all. And I have always felt and always believed that the universe does not scale misery. Meaning if something is like truly draining, awful, horrific, heavy, painful, doesn't feel good, so crunchy, so exhausting, like that is not in alignment, right? Like your soul would not be aligned to that, right? Like our souls want ease. Our souls want grace. They want to flow with the universe, not against the universe. Like we want to feel like it's all just kind of easy and amazing and magical and happening for us.
Exactly. Suzanne says, this doesn't sound like coaching to me. I'm literally thinking that as she's going on about like, we plan out their launch and they write the emails and then they send them to me and I edit the emails. It's like, what part of coaching has you editing someone's emails? Isn't that what you hire a copywriter for? Like, sorry, what? What part of coaching is this? Because I'm a little bit confused about what we're doing here.
And like, that is what you feel when you're in the right relationship. You're like, I didn't know it could be this easy. When you have the right business strategy, I didn't know it could be this easy. Like I'll sometimes have clients message me and they're like, oh, that was easy. I'm like, great. That's how you know that it's the right decision. If it feels super hard and crunchy and painful, you're not doing it right, period. So let's do it better. Let's just decide Launches don't have to be hard. They can be super easy. They're supposed to be super easy, and they are the path to growing our business so freaking quickly. Now, you can grow with funnels. I have clients who do that, but my clients who get the best results are the ones who do both. Because with funnels, we can incrementally scale up our ad spend, right? So an ads manager might recommend to increase ad spend 30% at a time, right? So we're going to consistently, incrementally grow up that ad spend, hopefully maintain the return on ad spend, keep, at scale kind of going proportionally to increase that income. Launches are not like that. Launches are like, yesterday my business was making $10,000 a month. And in a week and a half's time, my business is going to be making $35,000 a month because I just added in 25K in MRR.
Yeah, but is that like realistic for most people? Just because I choose to launch something, even if I have the best mindset and the most powerful energy, and I believe that I deserve to be successful, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm all of a sudden going to generate, what did she say, $35,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Like, what? This lady is delusional, allegedly, in my opinion.
That is a game changer. That is an absolute complete game changer. So we have to release the stories about launches that they're hard or we don't like them. Because if they're hard and you don't like them, then you're not going to do them. And
yeah, guys, the only reason you're not successful in your business is because you just believe that running a business is hard. And if you just chose for it to be easy, it would be easy. Duh.
And they get to be so easy and so fun. I remember when I was younger, I now have 2 dogs. I have Bonnie and Clyde. Please follow me on Instagram so that you can see how cute they are. And I cannot travel. I mean, I can travel, but I don't want to travel in the same way that I once did when I was younger and I was living out of a suitcase. Like Clyde would just like lose his mind. Clyde is like a mama's boy through and through. So I can't like go traveling for 6 weeks at a time, 6 months at a time, 3, weeks at a time, whatever it is. But when I was younger and I did not have the responsibilities that I do now, I never launched at home. I would always launch at a hotel. Like I used to live in Bali, Indonesia. And if I was going to be launching something, there were 2 places I always went. One was the St. Regis in Nusa Dua, which is my favorite by far. Or I would go to the W Hotel in Seminyak. So it was always one of the 2. And I would just get like a big suite and I would go sit on the beach, and I wouldn't sit on the beach in Seminyak. You could kind of sit like by the pool area looking at the beach, but at Nusa Dua, they had like the best, fluffiest, comfiest beach chairs, and I would be sitting there and like I would press a little button and like someone would come and they would bring me like chips and guacamole, and I would I don't know what I would drink back then. I didn't know as much about wine as I do now, so I was probably drinking something like a margarita or whatever. And
this is so annoying. These people really upset me because it's like, it's a conversation that my boyfriend and I have a lot. For those of you that are new here, my partner immigrated to Canada from Mexico, and so we often talk about specifically Canadians, but it happens from everywhere. Lots of people from Canada immigrating into Mexico because lower cost of living. If you're white passing, it's relatively, they like to think it's a relatively safe country, blah, 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 blah. And it's always interesting to me when I see a lot of these online internet gurus who claim to be, 7-figure, multiple 6-figure earners, moving to places in the world to exploit lower cost of living. Because if you're so wealthy, why do you have to move to Bali, Indonesia, or Mexico, or Costa Rica, or insert poorer country here, if you're making so much money? Like, it's different if you want to, travel around, go on a vacation. I went on a trip last year to Japan and Vietnam for 2 weeks. But I wasn't living there. I was just visiting as a tourist. That's different than you like uprooting your life and living in a developing country because it's so cheap and your money goes farther. I don't get it. And it's not unique to her. So many of these people do it. They move to these like developing countries where they can pay $500 a month rent to live in a luxury villa. And it's like, first of all, there's so many implications for the local economy that come of that. But to me, it just like something doesn't add up, because if I was so wealthy, couldn't I just like buy a house in Beverly Hills and stay in the US and live a nice life? Right? Like I could buy a mega mansion in West Vancouver and live next to Ryan Reynolds if I was so wealthy. I wouldn't have to go to a third world country. Right? Like, I don't know. That's just something that's never really made sense to me. Her limited life and business experience, worldview are clearly limited. I'm bored. She isn't anything special, just another wannabe grifter. So true. Exactly. A Bali hotel is the same price as a can of President's Choice, not the flex she thinks it is. That's what I like. I just don't get it. It's like, okay, you're living this luxury lifestyle, but you're living it in a country where an average person could do, like an average person from a developed nation, any average Canadian could go and live a luxury life in Bali. So it's like, is it supposed to be impressive or not? Because to me, it's like just seems odd that you're flexing. But anyway, I digress.
And so I would just be sitting there like having my chips and my guac. I think there was like a shrimp ceviche or something. And I would just be like on my computer making my little launch posts or like, you know, scheduling out the email that I wrote the week before or that my copywriter wrote for me. And it was just so easy and so fun. I remember I launched a course from the Maldives one time. I did.
So the Americans in the chat can correct me on this, but I actually don't think that's true. The tax dodge thing, because I think in the US, maybe it's only for individuals. Actually, it might work different for corporations. But I'm pretty sure if you're American and you live, like as long as you have ever paid into the US tax system, no matter where you live in the world, you have to pay US taxes. Because my partner and I were considering moving to the US before the election. And there was a bunch of tax implications we were looking into in that, like if you become a US citizen, I think, then you're obligated to pay U.S. taxes for the rest of your life, no matter where you live. I think, but I could be wrong. Somebody who is American, let me know in the chat if you know the rules.
I think that launch was for sold out sales. I did a launch.
But I wouldn't be surprised. I know a lot of people move to the Cayman Islands because it's like a tax haven or something.
Baby launch, which Launch Baby Launch is my launch course. I did that one from Hong Kong. I think I was at the Ritz-Carlton Hong Kong. And that one was so fun. But like I was just always traveling. I was always doing something fun. So I don't have the same desire to get on a plane to Hong Kong as I once did, because that's a really long flight these days for me now living in Scotland. But I still do fun things when I'm launching. So like I will make sure I'm getting a massage twice a week when I'm launching, or, you know, I'm going to go to the Spanish wine bar with my friends, or I'm going to have a dinner party with my friends, or like, you know, Bonnie and Clyde, I took them to the beach, which like taking two giant dogs to the beach in Scotland, like, which the beach is here, of course, by the golf courses. It just kind of feels like taking two like kids to Disney. It's like, oh, I took my toddlers to Disney. Like I'm more tired, but like they're having the time of their life. And like, we're going and we're getting like little grilled lobsters and I'm feeding it to them. And it's like a whole thing. But like, the point is like launching should be a fun experience. And so one of the big things that I tell my clients is like, you should have.
Rebecca, is that even if they don't live in the U.S.? Because like I pay Canadian taxes on any income, even if like my clients are in the U.S. and they're paying me, but that's because I'm in Canada. But like, let's say I'm American and I move to Canada and I'm running my business. Do I still pay American taxes even though I don't live in America? Crazy. There are a lot of tax havens with a lot of U.S. funds from the rich and dodgy. Yeah, I'm assuming if you have a corporation, there's probably a way to avoid it versus like an individual. You can get away with it, but it's not legal. Fair enough. Yeah, exactly. Alexa says Marco. So Marco is a Canadian YouTuber. Shout out always Marco. And he was touring Asia with a friend. His living expenses were cheaper. He's not rich, but he could afford the gym, food, travel just from streaming. Yeah, like when we went on our trip last year, I used to live in Vietnam. I lived there when I was in university. I had to do a field placement there as part of my degree. So I lived there for a year. So we went back to visit like all of my friends and whatever. And we were in Tokyo for 72 hours, like 48 hours on the front end of our trip and 24 hours on the back end. We spent the same amount of money in 3 days in Japan as we did in almost 2 weeks in Vietnam. So it's like it's very, very affordable if you come from a country where you make, you know, more than $10,000 a year. But there's something about these people flexing a luxury lifestyle while knowingly exploiting an area with lower cost of living. To me, that's just never made sense. Like, that's not impressive to me. But I guess it works. People fall for it. So crazy. If they make income abroad, then they have no U.S. residence. They still have to pay federal income tax. Interesting. The more you know, the more you know.
An energy management plan when you're launching. Like, it should be a pleasurable, enjoyable experience, because if you're feeling that where you're like, this is so easy, this is so fun, your nervous system is going to completely rewire its relationship to launches, where now all of a sudden you want to be launching because you're going to go to the beach, or you're going to go get a massage, or you're going to go to Paris, or you're going to go to Hong Kong, or you're going to do whatever, right? So, you know, Bonnie and Clyde, I've got a new dog walker for them who loves them and who watches them a lot more. So I'm planning on doing a launch soon. And I'm going to be in Portugal, and I'm going to go to Portugal, and I'm going to go to the Douro Valley because I need to learn about port for my fortified wine exam, because I'm studying to be a sommelier. So I'm going to go learn about fortified wines and port, and, you know, get some massages and be in the vineyards and do all of those things while I launch my program. Like, it does get to be that easy. It does get to be that fun.
Again, Portugal is one of the cheaper countries in Europe. So why aren't we going to Italy to do our wine sommelier course? Just wondering.
So launches are going to increase your brand profile. People are going to be watching you. You're going to have such good content out there, and you have to believe that. You're going to be like, oh my God, all eyes on me. It's going to be great. It's going to put you into another income bracket overnight. You are going to get a big influx of cash, but also you're...
How though? This is so stupid. Like, all you have to do is just believe that you're going to be successful and that your launch is going to be so easy, and then you're just going to be rich. So, like, if it was that easy, wouldn't we all be rich? Couldn't we all just believe our way to wealth? I just think that this kind of narrative, not only the fact that she's like, this is leading into her $30,000 a year coaching program, but this kind of magical thinking can be so dangerous for people, because it really oversimplifies the reality of running a business to the point that maybe you end up joining her mastermind, you pay her $30,000, you go to launch whatever your offer is, and guess what? You don't make any money. But guess what else? She's going to blame you for not making money. She's going to say it's your mindset. You didn't believe enough in yourself. You decided that it was going to be hard, so it was, and that's why you weren't successful. When the reality is, if you sell a trash product, it doesn't matter how easy you think it should be or how good it makes you feel. If nobody wants what you're selling, you're not going to have a successful launch. And that's the reality that none of these people want to say. Excuse me, I just burped right into the microphone. That was disgusting, and I do sincerely apologize. What wine pairs best with scams? Your guess is as good as mine. Hi Dios, guys.
You're going to create so much safety for your nervous system, because you're going to add recurring revenue to your business with those long-term payment plans, whether it's for a course or a group program or a mastermind or whatever. This is going to create so much safety for your business, which is going to give you a predictable level of income so that you can make different or better investment decisions. You can finally upgrade your website the way that you wanted to.
Guys, did you hear that? The long-term payment plans are what's going to create longevity for your business. Prey on the poor people who need a payment plan, because they're going to be your ticket to long-term financial security. Let's just read between the lines here.
You can finally hire the coach that you've been wanting to hire. You can take some money and invest it, or you can take some money and put it aside for a down payment for a house. Like, this is going to completely change your business, and you have to have that mindset about it. You have
Just exploit people and it will completely change your business. Let the record show. Benjamin says, can I get that Instagram poppin'? Yes, you can. Here you go. This one's for you.
Take trips, post on Instagram. Buy a cool car, post on Instagram. Get your Instagram poppin'.
Get your Instagram poppin', and that's how you're going to get so rich.
have to be like, launches are the thing, right? I'm not saying they're the only thing. We've just talked about funnels. They're not the only thing, but they are a thing that creates super fast results, super fast, period. So the first thing I will go ahead and say before I'm going to get into my exact approach to launch strategy. So I'm going to give you some strategies here. But the first thing I just want to say before we get into that is, like, so many people are playing it way too small. And I can see that with their launches really quickly. So one of the first things I do with my clients who come in to work with me is whenever I'm doing my onboarding calls, I'll go over, I have a process. It's been the same one for years. We go over like brand messaging, like marketing strategy, all of that, product suite, offers, pricing, team operation systems. But one of the first questions I'll ask is like, do you have any launches planned? Because if I have a client come in to work with me, let's say they've invested $30,000 to work with me for the year, and the biggest launch they've ever had is $50K. And then they've got a launch coming up and I can help them get that launch to $120K, overnight. They are immediately going to see a huge return on investment in working with me, but also how good is that going to be for their mindset as we approach the year ahead of working together? Or if I have a client come to work with me, I had a client who I think the biggest launch she had ever done was maybe like 120,000, 140,000, something like that. And then we did $1 million launch together, right? So like that changes your life. Like that is the game changer that makes it so that you also, for me as a business coach, it builds really strong trust and really strong relationships with my clients because we literally quantum leap them into a completely upgraded identity and a completely upgraded income bracket overnight.
Okay, you aren't literally quantum leaping anything. Again, that's not a thing that people can do. I have a question. I want to hear people's thoughts on this. There's something so like icky. I don't know if icky is the right word, but I'm going to say icky. Something so icky to me about coaches because, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. I was thinking of a particular person who kept popping up on my threads the last month or so, who was tracking how much money she was making in like a launch that she was doing for her program over the course of the month of May. So she had this goal of reaching 100K sales from this program launch in the month of May. And every few days she would post an update. You know, I've made $20,000. I've made $40,000. I made da 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 da. Long story short, she ended up allegedly making $100,000 in that month launching this program. My question for you guys, because to me it feels icky, is how would you feel as the client who's buying into this program, offer, product, service, whatever it is, this launch, if you will? How would you feel if you see the person you buy, let's say for, what was she charging, $2,800 a month? You buy that, you sign the contract, make your first payment, whatever. Next thing you know, this lady here is posting on her Instagram story, for example, being like, I'm at $60,000 this month. It's like, to me, as the coach receiving that money, you're basically just like seeing your clients as dollar signs, and it becomes less about actually helping the person achieve whatever the outcome is. If you're so fixated on sharing the wins of your growing business. Like I know the individual who I'm thinking of that I was watching on Threads isn't really, she's not like, I don't think she's a scammy business coach type person. I followed her for a while, just kind of like observing. But there was something about that really like turned me off her whole business model, because I was like, that seems so out of character for you to now be like bragging about how much money your business is making. And I know some people say like, oh, I do it for transparency. I want to show other people what's possible. And I get that. But at the same time, I'm like, if you're obsessively tracking every single time someone buys into whatever you're selling, to me, you're kind of losing sight of the purpose of the program, and you're just like making people into the dollars in your bank account. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you guys have thoughts, let me know. Yeah, exactly. You know how to get a 120K launch? Dupe 60 people into a $2,000 a month payment plan. Obviously not a quantum leap scam. Not at all. So true. Yeah, it would be gross. I think it's gross. They need something to brag about to sell the idea of coaching being the goal. But that's the thing too, is like, and again, it's because I guess part of it is because I'm not the target market here. But when I see someone bragging about, you know, I made $50,000 yesterday, I signed a 20K client, that like repels me from wanting to buy. But I guess some people see that and they're like, ooh, I want to learn how to do that. I don't know. It just feels so icky.
So my approach to launch strategy, which I mentioned Launch Baby Launch, which I launched in Hong Kong forever ago. I think that was 2018 or so. So when I launched Launch Baby Launch, I rolled out for the first time my launch life cycle. I had been, talking about it in my content, but I had never fully formally kind of created the framework around my approach to launches. But I've been teaching the same thing for like 6 or 7 years now, 7 years now. So a long time. And that's because I know that this is not only what works for my clients, but this is my own personal approach to launches. So when I'm planning out my launches in my Google Calendar, I literally put excite phase, educate phase, close phase. So I teach 3 phases to a launch strategy, which is the first one is excite. So we have to excite the audience for what is coming. We have to let them know that something is coming that they are going to be so excited about because it's going to create immense results and transformation for them. The reason why this works is because we are activating our existing audience base, we are creating intrigue, and we also have the ability to gauge interest at this point. So the excite phase would be a wonderful opportunity to put out a waitlist or to do a pre-sale. So something that I will often do with my clients who are coming in to work with me is I'll say like, okay, you want to do a launch? Great. You're launching your mastermind. Fantastic. Can we put together a list of people that we want to personally invite them in to the mastermind? So I have a client who did this and she had sold out. I have to check the exact numbers. I have it in my notes somewhere, but I believe it was 70% sold out before the doors even opened. So that completely changed her positioning for the launch. So the excite phase is where you're getting people excited for what's to come. You're more focused on storytelling at this point. You're really focused on engaging your audience. This is also a great opportunity and the time to be doing something like putting out a free training or a webinar or a masterclass. And it's really just to kind of warm up the audience. The educate phase of the launch is kind of like the meat and potatoes. It's the bulk of the launch. And that's where you are educating them on the problem that they have and how that problem is being solved by the offer. And you're just educating them on all that they need to know from a facts point of view of here's the offer, here's how it works, here's who it's for, here's why it's going to change your life. And I really like to focus again on storytelling at this point in the launch where it's like, okay, let's say what I'm selling is my mindset.
Trek says, what's the phase for embellishing right to the edge of lying? It's not embellishing. It's called the storytelling phase, where we tell imaginary stories of make-believe.
Of course. So there are some people who, really struggle with their money mindset. There are some people who really struggle with worthiness. There are some people who really struggle with actually not even feeling like they're struggling with anything. They're like, my mindset is okay, but like my external circumstances, like I don't feel great about it. So there's almost like a level of emotional numbness. So I'm just speaking to the ways that this quote unquote problem, let's say, or just like where they currently are might be showing up or manifesting in their life or business, and really helping my audience understand how Abundant AF is the solution to help them get the results they want. So
guys, my solution is Abundant AF. Abundant AF, okay? If you've ever doubted me, just know that it's Abundant AF.
Once I've done that, once everyone knows, here's the offer, here's how it works, here's the price point, here's what's included, all of that, the last phase of the launch is the close. So at this point, they're already excited. They know what it is. They know how it works. The only question that they really have is, am I going to sign up for this or not? So the close phase is only objection focused. So we at that point are going to be doing things like introducing extended payment plans if appropriate. This isn't always something that I recommend, but sometimes if we are going to have an extended payment plan beyond what was introduced, this is going to be the time to roll it out. If there are some new bonuses that we want to roll out, bonuses should be objection busting. So if there is a bonus, let's say one of the objections to my launch course is I don't have anything to launch. I don't know what to launch. Well, first of all, I could have done, and in the past I have done, a 5-day workshop series helping you pick your course topic for what you're going to launch. Or let's say I didn't do that. I could have a bonus. Here's what to launch. Here's how to build an offer that is going to launch. So if
we don't need another online course. If you're watching this and you're thinking, should I launch an online course? No, you shouldn't. We don't need it. I promise you.
someone's like, well, I don't have anything to launch, and then that bonus comes out, that could overcome that objection. So, an extended payment plan overcomes the money objection. There's different objections and specific ways to handle them that you are going to be focused on in the close. Close period is really about permission giving. Oftentimes, the reason why launches don't work for some people is because your audience does not feel invited into the program. People, especially nowadays, want to feel wanted. People want to feel invited into the program. So one of the biggest things that I focus on with my clients is really getting your leads to self-identify, but tracking them super closely. So I have like a giant lead tracker, and I give this template to my clients, but it's like, who is a hot and spicy lead? Who is a warm lead? Who is like an ice cold lead? Like who said yes, who said no? And just like really keeping an eye on that, because in the close phase, I'm going to be focused on my hot and my warm leads. I'm really not at that point going to be focused on cold leads. But if I have 4 days, to close, and I've got 35 people on my warm list, you better believe I'm going to be sending every single one of them a 35-second voice memo, checking in with them, seeing if they have any questions. Is there anything I can do? Because if from those voice memos, I'm able to convert half of them, I just got 17 people into my offer on top of whatever would have come, from prior enrollment dates. So really focusing on who are my leads, where are they in my sales process, and inviting them in and building that relationship with them, that is going to be the game changer. So that excite, educate, close phase is the best way to think about the specific messaging that you are going to have at different times of the launch. Now, launches are basically one-on-one sales in mass, right? So when we're on a one-on-one sales call, I teach my clients a 7-step sales call structure. I don't do scripts. I do a structure where it's like, here's the 7 kind of phases that we want to go through in a sales call.
Phase 1. Get the person to tell you their problem. Phase 2, use their problems against them. Step 3, force them to give you their credit card right on the call. Step 4, don't hang up the call until they give you their credit card. Step 5, continue to pressure them to pay right away. Step 6, if they say they have to talk to their husband, tell them no, give me your credit card. Step 7, close the sale, get rich.
A launch is basically that, but it's happening to the entire audience at the same time. And that's why launches are the key to quantum leaping. Because if in a 1 hour period, I could close one sale on a sales call, now with a launch, hypothetically, I could close 50 people in 10 days, right? That's a completely different ballgame. And that's why they are so powerful. So another piece that I think is really key to having that 6 or 7 figure launch is to focus on authority. So if you go into it,
Phase 8, end up being rightfully mocked on the live stream. So true. So true.
and you're like, I think that this will work for you, or like, I really believe in it. Like, if you're just kind of like unsure about what it is that you're selling, it's not going to resonate in the same way with your audience. There has to be that conviction and that belief that your offer is going to be the thing that gets them results. If you're not convinced, they're not convinced. So, and I do think that you have to check in with yourself on that. Like, that is often why people struggle to sell their programs, is like, they're not totally sold on it. They're not sure about it. They don't feel like aligned with the decisions that they made. They just did what they thought would sell.
No, I think the reason why a lot of people don't sell their programs is because they're selling things people don't want to buy. This is a hill that I will die on every week if I have to. But the number one rule of business, whether you're selling some shitty coaching program or you're selling literally anything, is figuring out product market fit. If you do not have a product or service that people actually need or want to buy, no one's going to buy it. Again, it doesn't matter how much you believe in yourself. It doesn't matter how much time you spend crafting the perfect launch strategy. If you sell a service that people don't need or want, you are never going to make any notable amount of money. Sure, you might sell 1, you might sell 2, you might sell 3 to closest friends and family, but you're not going to build a sustainable business offering a service, product, etc. that people don't want to spend their money on. So let the record show.
You have to fully and totally believe that your offer will get people results, because ultimately what you're selling is a transformation. So getting super locked in on that and coming from a place of authority, of not just trying to like convince people that this is the thing that's going to get them results, but being like, I know that this will get you results. Obviously you can't guarantee results, but like, if you have full faith and conviction, you should communicate that in your marketing. You should let people know, I 100% believe in this. I 100% back this. I know that this will get you results. I know that this will get you more of what you want. And when you communicate,
tell people you can get them results, but you can't promise that. I actually want to go to her sales page right now and see what disclaimer she has, if any, because it's interesting to say you have to believe that you can do it, but don't actually say that. Okay, there isn't really anything. What is it? How do I know if it's for me? What if I have more questions? Okay, disclaimers are at the bottom here. The results showed are not typical. The information provided on this website is for informational purposes only. In no way is the information provided meant to be a substitute for professional or legal advice. The information published on this website regarding wealth, abundance, income, earnings, business profits, or personal financial status is for information purposes only. The information may provide real-life examples and or hypothetical examples of possible outcomes, which are in no way guarantees of what will occur in your specific situation. As you know, financial outcomes depend on many factors, including but not limited to your level of personal responsibility, commitment, and abilities, in addition to these factors that you and or company may not be able to anticipate. You agree that the company is not responsible for your success or lack thereof. Your reliance on any information provided is done at your own risk. Any testimonials provided on this website are opinions of those providing them. The information provided in the testimonial is not to be relied on to predict results in your specific situation. The results you experience will be dependent on many factors, including but not limited to your level of personal responsibility, commitment, and abilities, in addition to those factors that you and or company may not be able to anticipate. Interesting. Interesting that the only place you can find that is in this tiny, 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 tiny... Can you guys even see my screen? Oh no, where did it go? Sorry, I didn't realize you can't see what I'm looking at. Why did it do that? Hold on. Where did it go? Is it just because I switched tabs? I don't understand what's happening. Oh no, it's showing. Where is it? Oh, it went super, super tiny. Why did that happen? Oh, at least I was reading it to you guys. Ah! Hold on. I'm trying my best. Am I though? I don't know. That is so weird. I didn't even notice it disappeared. So sorry about that. We're back. We've just been seeing money. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, fixed it. All I was reading was this page, but I just wanted to show you how tiny the font is what I was trying to show you when I realized that you guys got disappeared. At the very bottom of the page, I haven't changed the size of the font on this website, by the way. At the very bottom of the page here, the underlined piece, it says disclaimers. That's where you have to go to be able to read this. Like, this is me super zooming in. You can see it there. That is shady. That, in my opinion, allegedly, very, very shady to be making all these claims, showing all these testimonials. I'm going to teach you how to make $1 million. But then you got to really scroll to the bottom to see that, like, oh, actually, it all depends on your personal responsibility. So if you don't get results, that's not my problem. Yeah, what happened to our unlimited mindset beliefs that everything can be easy? Why do we need a disclaimer if our success is just going to be so simple and guaranteed? Hi, Dios. Yeah, disclaimer. This has only worked for 35 out of 10,000 people. So true. That disclaimer is her version of this works, allegedly, in my opinion. That's exactly what I was thinking. Particularly the part that said, where was it? The information provided in the testimonials is not to be relied upon. Guys, the information in this live stream is not to be relied upon. This is just my opinion.
Communicate from that place. People want to buy into your program. So you have to lead from authority. You have to lead from leadership. So that's why I love to have some sort of...
Okay, so we're now calling lying as leading with leadership. You have to lead with leadership if you want people to buy what you're selling. So you just got to lie to them to get them to buy what you're selling. Lead with leadership. Write that down in the thesaurus. Next time I look up the word, what's a synonym for lying? Hopefully I hear lead with leadership.
Warm-up event or conversion event, whatever you want to call it. A masterclass, a webinar, it could be anything. The other thing that I think is so great about launches these days is they have started to get simpler and simpler. So before, it was quite common. So if you're going to run Facebook ads, so let's say a webinar or workshop, you typically want to do that for like at least 10 to 12 days before the actual workshop, because it can take a couple of days for the ads to learn and to figure it out and to scale up. But what you could go ahead and do quite simply, let's say you want to get 10 people into your mastermind. Let's say it's $15K for 6 months. You could have a video sales letter, which this is another strategy that I teach my clients. I made, how much was it? $140,000 in like 6 or 7 days from a video sales letter that I basically said, I've got a video training. It's super short. I'm going to explain this new thing that I'm doing, right? Excite phase, excite, message me to get it. 140K in a couple days. So
a video sales letter is much like the thing we watched at the beginning of the stream, where it's just like a video that explains, you know, what the offer is and why people should buy it. It's like a sales page, but in video format.
Sales letters are a really powerful way as well to get your audience bought in super quickly. So launches are getting shorter, but the reason why video sales letters work is because the kind of like formula that I use for how I go through them, it's very much focused on, again, communicating what's the transformation. Here's totally why I believe in this. Here's why this is going to work. So just to give you a couple of like launch case studies, so you can see how every launch is different, but also how it creates complete and total overnight results for your business. I had a $500,000 launch for the first time back in 2017. I got, I don't even know, like 30 clients in paying, I think like $18,000, $20,000 a year, something like that. And that completely changed my business overnight. That's what took me 0 to $1 million in 9 months, was that 500K launch. Like that was the thing that tipped me over the edge. And that was done with, you know, a big fancy sales page and a drone video and application and sales calls and all of that. A different launch that I did was I had an $800,000 Black Friday launch, which was I sold about 800K in programs in the DMs. It was all in the DMs, no sales calls, over a 2-week period, launching Black Friday offers. So specifically like, here's a mastermind, here's an accelerator, here's a, you know, business bundle, here's whatever. That was all in the DMs. There was no sales call. So you can still get really big results with something like a flash sale launch. When I launched my first course, Launch Baby Launch, the one I did in Hong Kong, that was a $180,000 course launch. I did that launch over about 3 to 4 weeks. I did a 5-day video training series for that one. I believe I had an early bird and a full price. But that also was huge for my business because from that launch, you know, it was $180,000. We made that in 4 weeks. I think like half of that was cash or something.
So true. Good catch. Suzanne says all the data is pre-2020. It's so funny. It reminds me of, I was going through my old posts on Threads the other day, trying to find like content ideas I could use for Instagram Reels. And I came across a thread that I posted, I don't know, probably close to a year ago now, where I made a comment about how, in my opinion, if I go to your Instagram, your website, whatever, and you're sharing, you know, featured in all of these news outlets and whatever, and everything that you're sharing is multiple years old. Like there was a particular coach I was looking at who had shared that she was featured in the CBC, which is like a big news publication here in Canada. She was featured in this like podcast. She was featured in this other publication, da 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 da. I went through and looked at the articles and they were all from like 2019, 2020, 2018. And she's selling coaching now in 2025. And nothing that she has been featured in was newer than like the last 4 years. And so in the thread, I was basically saying, like, to me, that's not really a means of credibility to say, oh, I got featured in blah, 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 if it's not new and it's not relevant, because presumably if you are still successful, particularly if you're a coach that's selling the idea of success, would you not be like consistently getting the opportunity to share your expertise, whether it's on podcasts or on the news or whatever? And so I made a thread about it, and then all these women were going off on me of like, I've been on mat leave, so obviously I haven't been featured in the news. I'm like, Brenda, I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just saying you should have at least one recent interview that you've done if you're talking about how relevant your current experience is. So all that to say, I find it super interesting that this woman here is referring to all of these massive launches that she had that are now like 5, 6, 7 years old. Because if your business is doing so well, shouldn't you have more recent or more relevant examples from lately? Like, I don't know. That'd be like if you went to my UGC portfolio and all of the videos I have in there are from like 2019. Like, don't I have clients that I've worked with in the last 6 months that I could also include in there? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Lying equals the stories we tell ourselves. Yeah, I think so too. Monica says when they react like that, it's because deep down they know it's true. I think I definitely triggered a few people that were then like, oh shit, I gotta find a way to keep myself more relevant. I've been featured in the chat box on Danielle Ryan. Add it to your website. Put a little logo. Put my little face on your website. And the leads will just be pouring in.
That was just huge for the business. But also we now had, I can't even remember how many people signed up. I think it was like 110 or something. We had all of these people signed up for the course who then went on to buy other programs. So that was like a very standard course launch. I did a masterclass launch. I made about $40,000 from that. I think it was about like $297 per person. And that was done with a reel. I did a reel and I also did a carousel. So 2 social media posts and a couple of Instagram stories. Really simple. Comment to get the link. They got the Thrivecart link via ChatGPT. They paid, they enrolled. It was a 3-part masterclass series. From that, I got 5 mastermind clients and I believe they each paid $35,000 a year. Mine is a little bit lower at the moment. So that like immediately added like $150K to the business.
Okay, let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and say that this is true. Just because you had that experience doesn't mean that now anyone who pays you is also going to have that same experience. Like, they aren't you. They don't have your business, your audience, your warm leads, etc. Like, I couldn't just buy into your mastermind and do exactly what you did and then suddenly get the same results. Like, that's the part that's really annoying to me is all of these coaches try to sell it as if like, well, it worked for me, so now it's going to work for you too. And the reality of business is like, that doesn't matter. You could follow exactly everything I've done step by step, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to have the same results as me.
Just from a reel and a carousel. So like, as you can see, there are different ways to do launches. Like, it's not so you must do this or nothing else will work. Like, there are different things that you can do to get huge results, but no matter what it looks like, there is a huge income leap after every single time. So those were some of my launches, but I want to tell you about some of my client launches. I had a client come to work with me. Her business, when we started, I think was like $20,000 or $30,000 cash a month. And then about 6 months into it, 5 months into working together, she had a $700,000 launch in 8 weeks. She launched a group program. She launched it for 2 months and she got $700,000 in sales during that 2-month period. Her business scaled to $1 million and it has never gone down since. I had another client and that client, she was doing it all via sales calls. She didn't do any sort of like webinar or anything like that. I have another client who had $1 million launch or euros. And for that one, it was webinars, it was workshops, it was pitching on Instagram stories, it was podcast episodes, it was video marketing, it was all sorts of things. But again, completely changed the game for her business. And those payment plans were coming in up to a year. So she assumed that it was, all monthly payments only. It wasn't, but let's assume that's $83,000 a month for the next year. That is a game changer. That changes your life. She went on to hire full-time employees from that. I have a client who had a $150,000 group program launch. We came up with the idea for it. We had a VIP day together and we sat down and she was kind of talking to me about her product suite and the things that she wanted to do. And I was like, well, what if we put it together this way? So we put it together into a 4-month group program.
Woo! Space Pastry celebrates 24 months of membership, quantum leaping for 2 years. I just have one question for you.
Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling empowered? Are you feeling relief? How does that feel?
How does it feel to be part of the best cult on the internet?
I want all of you to let that one especially deeply sink in.
Just let it sink in and know that you are here to quantum leap. And remember this piece of advice.
Either get there or die trying, but damn sure don't be average.
Don't be average because we don't have time or energy for that. And congratulations. Thank you so much for 2 years of membership. Space Pastry says, I am feeling rich. That's the attitude and energy we need in order to multiply our wealth. So congratulations.
We had that VIP day. I think it was December 2023, maybe. She launched that program, I think January or February. So I can't remember the timing exact, but let's say, 8 weeks later, she launched it. $150,000 group program launch. It's now her signature offer. She loves it so much. Completely changed her business, not just in terms of income, but in terms of how she feels about it. Because this was the work that matters the most to her. So
I can't tell from the software that I'm on, but did your emoji change? I'm pretty sure at 24 months you turn into a piggy bank with dollar signs. Did it change? Somebody confirm or deny.
Had incredible launch results, but my clients have also had incredible launch results. They regularly have 6 and 7-figure launches that change their business overnight, not just in terms of how much money they're making, but how they feel about their business. And they do it in a really enjoyable, pleasurable, strategic way. We always get very specific on what are we doing? How are we launching this? We get all of our content ready to go, reviewed, optimized before they launch. And then when they do launch, it's just pressing play and collecting the money. And that is the mindset you have to have about launches. If you think launches are hard, launches are crunchy, launches suck, it's not going to work. Right? Because your body will find a way to self-sabotage that. But I work with my clients on launches all the time and they get phenomenal results. And so I hope that from this training, you take away that they are the key to quantum leaping. They can be easy, but you have to be very strategic about them. You have to be mindful of the launch lifecycle and how you move through the launch. And you want to have a mentor that you're working with ahead of time to get everything all set up so that you can just press play and relax. And then when you add this on to a functioning sales
Okay, I'm done. I'm not launching whatever this woman wants me to launch, so we're done. We're done here. So sorry if you were learning so much and taking notes, but you can listen to this on your own time. We could do one more if you guys want. If you don't want, that's fine too. Let me know. We could learn how to turn $800 into an 8-figure empire. That sounds interesting. We could learn how to upgrade our identity, learn about a marketing and sales funnel. What's the vibe? Let me know, or we can just shut it down. You tell me what you want. Love it, love it, love it. Harrison says, I have something to strive for. Yes, if you are in the membership and you thought being a unicorn was cool, just wait till you turn into a piggy bank. Harrison says, wait, she was just getting to the point. I can feel it. Sadly, I don't think any of these people have ever gotten to the point. And yet I've wasted so many hours of both mine and your lives. Oh, goodness. Aaron says 11 months of membership, 1 month until a year. When do I get to Quantum Leap? In approximately 30 days, you too will be able to buy status, Quantum Leap, into the next tax bracket.
You can buy status by just like spending money to be around these people and then just being a cool person.
You spend your money to hang out with me here on the internet. So congratulations to you. And just in case you guys forgot how important it is to show up on live stream every week, let me just remind you.
A podcast is the greatest education you can get.
A podcast, though this isn't a podcast, is a live stream, is the greatest education you can get. So you're welcome for helping you guys get smarter each and every week. Harrison wants to know if she has a video on how to turn a $2,000 monthly payment plan into a nightmare. Or was that the one we just watched? Good point. Okay, let's start with this $800 one, and I'm sure I'll skip past half of it anyway. It says it's 45 minutes, but we don't have to listen to the whole thing, and we probably won't. So let's see.
And then how did I get to 10? So I will be talking about my story and just introducing myself a little bit. But after that, I'm going to go into some of the key business decisions that really made it possible for me to create this 8-figure business that I now run and have been running for the last almost 10 years. So I started my business when I was 22 years old. At the time of recording this training, I am 30 years old. I'm turning 31 next month. And I was 22.
There we go. 3 Flamingos, if you're still here, she's 30 years old, turning 31 next month. Although this was published in March, so I guess she's 31 now.
Years old. I just finished college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was at the point where I could either go into political science, and if I was going to do political science, then they wanted me to stay and do a minor in statistics so that I could.
Okay, so this is actually super interesting, not to cut her off again, but she has said multiple times that she started in coaching in 2016, and I am 33, so I'm 2 years older than her if she's turning 31. I graduated university in 2014. So that would mean she literally graduated university, college, whatever you want to call it, and became a coach right away with no life experience outside of being a student. This is crazy. Oh my God. I never put 2 and 2 together. Monica celebrates 10 months of membership, feeling super rich. Woohoo! To that I say this. Thank you so much, Monica.
Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling empowered? Are you feeling relief? Are you feeling, how does that feel?
How does it feel to be a member, here on the channel for 10 months? I want to know. What is this? I don't know what this soundbite is, so I'm going to click on it so we can find out together.
You want to get rich and you want to have a rich life, you listen to me.
That's a good one. Monica, if you want to get rich and you want to have a rich life, listen to me, okay?
Could then go get a PhD, because in political science, what a lot of people these days need is they need, students to come in who have statistics degrees, and so much of it is working with data. So I could go do that, but I did not like statistics at all, and I did not want to do more school. Or I could go, apply for a PhD in religion or something like that. So it was like political science or religion. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I did not want to spend another 5 years sitting behind a desk. I wanted to go live my life. I wanted to go explore. I wanted to go do something. My dream had always been to travel. I was born in Germany, but I moved to the United States when I was 4. And growing up, I never really traveled overseas. I think the first time I really traveled overseas was when I was 19 years old. We spent a Christmas in Venice together as a family. And then I went to Morocco to study abroad when I was in college, and I studied Arabic there for about 3 months, and I really, really loved it.
Does anyone know her family background? Because my family certainly wasn't going to Venice for Christmas from North America. So I've got a few questions about what level she started this business at.
And I just wanted to get back out there. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. I had always dreamed of going to Europe and seeing the pyramids and going to Asia. And like, that was what I dreamt of. That was the vision board that I had. It was never about like weddings or, designer things or cars. Like, it was just like travel, cities, adventure. So I decided when I was 22 that I was going to move overseas and just see if I could make some money online. I had seen some Facebook ads and some blog posts linked on Pinterest about being a virtual assistant. And I thought that I could go ahead and try doing that. So my last month or two of college, I started taking on little jobs, and I was making about $12 an hour doing things like pinning things on Pinterest for people, or writing Instagram captions, or making, documents in Adobe for people so that they could make little worksheets and PDFs and things like that. So I started taking on some little clients, which, wasn't much. It was maybe, let's say, $120 a month if I'm getting, 10 hours a month from a client for $12 an hour. But I figured if I'm moving overseas, I'm not going to need as much money. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to be super dedicated, and I'll have enough money to travel. And,
there it is. If I move overseas, aka to Southeast Asia, I can make minimum wage and live like a king. That's what she's saying without saying it, but she is saying it.
Be able to get coconuts on the beach and travel. So in Southeast Asia, there's this thing called the Banana Pancake Trail, and it's basically this suggested travel path that backpackers can follow throughout Southeast Asia, and it's called the Banana Pancake Trail because a lot of the guest houses will cater to Western palates by making banana pancakes, because a lot of Asian food is obviously quite different to what Americans and Westerners are used to. So I thought I was just going to be in Bali, for a couple of weeks or a month until I got some money together, and then I would keep it moving. And I had about $800 in my bank account when I moved to Bali. So I had actually lied to my parents. I was 22, quite young. And I was like, oh yeah, I've got like 3,000 saved. I got 4,000 saved.
$800 probably in Daddy's trust fund in the back pocket, just in case I needed it. It was there.
I did not. I had spent some of that money on
which, for the record, I'm not a trust fund baby, but I have no problem with people if they have money from their family. If you come from a wealthy family, you don't get to choose what family you're born into. That's fine. That's great. I wish I was born into a wealthy family. I love my family. But a couple million might be nice, is all I'm saying. I have nothing against that. What I have a gripe with is when people act like they are self-made. I did it all on my own. I only had $800. And then they come from like a wealthy family that, let's be honest, probably would bail you out if you need it. There's a certain peace of mind that comes from knowing that you can fall back on your parents if you have to, versus actually only having $800 and you're going to die or starve if you don't figure out a way to make money. I don't know. I just want to be clear that, like, if you come from a wealthy family, kudos to you. I'm a little bit jealous, let me be honest. But if I'm going to act like I didn't, and I did, to me, dishonest. I don't like it. I don't like that rags to riches story when there is no rags to riches. We see it every time. This is not, again, unique to this woman. How many times have we read oh my God, I quit my job and started my business. And then you come to find out that, like, their husband is super wealthy, or their family is super wealthy, or they have a trust fund, or they, their partner has a 6-figure plus year job. Like, tell me the whole story, and then I'll tell you if it's as impressive as you're trying to make it sound.
Like a giant new backpack, and like I got some new chacos, and I had clothes and things like that I felt like I really needed to be able to move overseas, or I needed a new camera or whatever that was. So I go to Bali with $800 in my bank account. I had a one-way plane ticket. I had no clue what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to make it work no matter what. I had some virtual assistant clients, but, again, not much. It was maybe a couple of $100s a month lined up. And I just immediately threw myself into trying to serve my clients. And I stumbled upon Facebook groups where I saw people talking about the online business industry. I really had no idea that there was an industry that existed. I thought it was just virtual assistants helping other people with their careers. And so as I started spending more time and connecting with more people,
Always the damn Facebook groups. That was such a thing of that era, like 2016, 2017, 2018. That was like peak scamming on Facebook, in my opinion. Thank you so much, Amy. Amy donated $2 and says she traveled overseas when she moved from Germany. She also traveled overseas when her family spent Christmas in Venice, Italy. Like, I've never really traveled much, except for the time that my parents took me on all these cross-Atlantic vacations. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Learned that it would really be helpful for me and my business if I specialized in something. So while I was in college, I did a lot of work in political campaigning. I did graduate courses in political campaigning, and so much of political campaigning is getting out the vote. So it's like, how do I get someone to care enough about a cause or a candidate or a politician that they are going to take the time to line up and vote for something to get their little I voted sticker? So a lot of that is marketing and campaigning and branding, and that's what I had experience in. So I decided to specialize in social media marketing, and I was doing social media management done for you for clients. And I immediately kind of made that switch. And when I did that, I had a $5,000 cash month, my first month living overseas. And then shortly after that, I, again, was spending all of this time reading and learning and consuming information.
Wait, did she just say she made $500,000 her first month?
And I immediately kind of made that switch. And when I did that, I had a $5,000 cash month, my first month.
5,000. Okay, that makes way more sense. I was like, wait, what?
Living overseas. And then shortly after that, I, again, was spending all of this time reading and learning and consuming information. I decided that I needed to get some more specific sales training. So I hired a corporate sales trainer. And immediately after hiring the corporate sales trainer, I had a $10,000 cash month. So I just started reading everything I could, every Tony Robbins book I could get my hand on, like every webinar, every workshop, and just doing everything I could to scale my business. And I was very new to all of this. This idea of the online industry was something completely new. I'd never really heard of it when I was in college. I was always thinking about political science and, religion and campaigning and international relations and foreign policy. And this was just new to me. But
Aaron, I think she's saying, so Aaron's asking, wait. She's working on campaigns to get out to vote from overseas. No, she's saying she studied political science. And so when she was in university, she used to help with campaigns. And now she's taking the skills she learned from campaigning and using it to help people market their businesses and selling digital marketing services.
What I did know was how to campaign and how to persuade and how to be diplomatic and advocate. So as I was looking at people in the industry that I thought were really successful, like Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo and, other names that nowadays you might not even recognize because they have since shut down their businesses, but this was 10 years ago, I started
Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo, neither of which have shut down their businesses, but they are known to be allegedly, possibly, potentially scammers, if that's what you mean. Maybe not in your best interest to associate yourself with those people. I'm just saying.
Looking at all of these people that I thought were really successful. And I asked myself, what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing? So I remember I was living in Bali. I was 22. I had, these notebooks all across my desk. And I was just kind of mapping out, okay, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I just started asking myself, what are they doing that I'm not? And then I'm going to go do that thing. So I really made a decision of, I don't have this big 7-figure business yet, but I was, growing quite quickly. My confidence was really growing. So I decided, I'm going to take action as if. I'm going to show up as if. And my coaching business, my social media management business just completely blew up and it was doing so well. And, now all of a sudden I'm 22 years old, making $25,000 a month doing done-for-you social media management. My clients are super happy. Everything's going really well. So my social media management clients were the first ones to come to me and ask me, hey, could you help me with my business? Like, how are you doing this so fast? I remember one of the first clients who had asked me to do that. She was in like Etsy drop shipping type of business. I remember another person, she was doing like fitness coaching. So I had all of these, women who I'd built really positive relationships with doing the done-for-you social media management side of things now come to me saying, hey, can you please help me grow my business? And so they were my first coaching clients. I would still do their done-for-you social media management, but I would maybe meet with them, once a week or once every 2 weeks to answer questions and kind of help them make decisions and move things along. And I didn't yet realize that I was coaching them. I was just trying to do my best to, support them and answer their questions. So as that kind of took off and got more successful, I decided that I wanted to move more into business coaching and business consulting because I'd grown the social media side of my business to multiple 6 figures and I was doing really well there. And I just loved the consulting aspect of it. So I decided to roll that.
How did you grow it to multiple 6 figures when you made a 5K month and a 10K month? Like to have multiple 6 figures, that would have taken a few years, but you're making it sound like it was only over the course of a few months, unless I misheard.
That out with the launch of a group program. And the group program was called Social Media with Soul. And it was a social media focused business coaching program. And I thought that really made a lot of sense for me as an initial step into business coaching because I was helping people with something that I had so much experience with, which was social media marketing, social media management, campaigning, messaging. And I had done that for myself, but also for my clients. And when I was doing social media marketing, I was always very stats heavy, very data heavy, and it worked really well for me. So that first group program launch was teeny tiny, to be perfectly honest. I had 6 people join, and I think total, I wouldn't even know what I made, like $3,500, $4,000, something like that from the group program, not much at all. But I loved it and I did really well. And from there, after that kind of initial group program launch, I started taking on private coaching clients. The packages were quite small, usually 6 weeks to start, and they were just doing really well, really successful. So I had the really big social media marketing side of the business. Business coaching was doing really well. That was starting to scale up, be really successful. And I was approached by a contributing writer for Forbes.
This is something super interesting that I feel like is a common trend in all of the online space that I will continue to just complain about for the rest of eternity. But, and I don't really know if there's like a way, like I'm not the maker of the rules of the internet. I say that all the time. But there's something to me about, even if you have financial success, let's say I launch a business and 6 months from now I'm making multiple six figures, as they say. Does that then qualify me as an expert just because I've hit a certain revenue target to then be able to like coach other people on it? Because the common trend that I notice, and obviously I complain a lot about it in the UGC space because that's where I work, but we see it in social media management, we see it in virtual assisting, is as soon as someone hits some kind of consistent income, whether it's, 3 months in a row they make 10K or they hit 6 figures in their business, they automatically, and I'm generalizing a bit, but it's such a common trend that I'm sure some of you have seen it too, but they automatically switch into coaching. So it's like, I become a virtual assistant. I have, again, 3 months in a row where I make 10K. Well, now all of a sudden I'm going to become a virtual assistant coach teaching you how to start a 10K a month virtual assisting business. And so her story is basically saying that, like, I started a social media management business where I was helping people, business owners, with their social media. And then I immediately switched into becoming a business coach. It's like, at what point do we actually have enough skills and experience that we can start charging people for coaching? And I don't know the answer to that question. I just find it interesting because it's like, even the people I know who own businesses and are super successful, like I'm talking multiple $1 million businesses, they don't even really feel like experts and they don't really feel qualified to be charging people money to teach them how to do what they did. Because again, it's not copy paste. I can't teach you to do what I did and guarantee that it's going to be a success. So it's like, I might be able to mentor you for free and give you pointers and tips, but I don't know. There's just something so odd about this like false sense of self, like the delusional confidence that you need in order to just be like, yep, I decided I'm an expert now, so therefore I am. And it's like, what is happening?
And she asked to write an article about me. And so when I got that press feature, one thing that I did, which I've done so many times, is again ask myself, what is it that other people who are more successful than me are doing that I'm not? And so I did all of the research that I could about press features and trying to figure out, what kind of happens here. And one thing I noticed was a lot of people will get a press feature, and again, this was a contributing writer. It wasn't a staff writer. There's a difference. A contributing writer is someone who is, being given permission to basically post blogs on that website. Even so, Forbes has a ton of credibility, and it was something that I wanted to leverage really successfully. So I noticed that a lot of people who had contributing writers comment about them or write an article about them. It would usually kind of get, maybe 2,000, 3,000 views total, and it would die off quite quickly. But they wanted the opportunity to put as seen in Forbes, featured in Forbes logo on their website or in their marketing. And that makes sense. It's a great opportunity. Of course you do. But I wanted this to be so much bigger. And so what I knew from my experience political campaigning is that attention spans are tiny, right? I also knew this from social media marketing. Social media marketing 101, like attention spans are like goldfish. Someone might pay attention to a social media post and then its value basically dies. So if we talk about the lifespan of a social media post, back in the day, 10 years ago, I was very heavy into Pinterest marketing for a lot of my clients. So I would do a lot of Pinterest setups. And one of the reasons was that back then, I don't know what the stats are anymore now in, 2025, but back in like 2016, the stats were that if you posted something on Instagram, it was like irrelevant within 30 minutes. But if you posted something on Pinterest, it would only gain traction over time. So knowing that this article was going to be super exciting for
Pinterest is still the same, FYI. I don't know why she's saying like back in the day, this is how Pinterest worked. Pinterest still works like that.
Like all of one day for my audience, and then no one was going to care about it. I asked myself, how can I really make that opportunity count? And like, what can I do within that 1 day period that is going to completely maximize this opportunity? So what I decided to do was really build up the storytelling around the Forbes article and like let my audience know that this was coming. I let them know it was coming, I think maybe a week or two before it dropped, because with press features, you do sometimes have some notice. If it's like a commentary, if it's like some sort of feature on you, you'll usually have some notice of when it's going to drop. If it's something like breaking news where people are talking about you, it just comes out when it does. But you usually have a little bit of notice. So she got her posting schedule from her editor. I think it was like August 31st or something like that. So we knew when it was coming. And I let my audience know, hey, this is coming. I'm so excited. At that point, I think I had maybe like 5,000 people in my Facebook group. Like my business was doing super well. I was making $60,000 cash a month. Like I had a really big business at that point already, but I wanted to make this even bigger with the Forbes article. So what I decided to do is I was going to tackle this from two paths. So looking at this article, one thing that's interesting about it is it's talking about how this 23-year-old makes $60,000 a month while traveling the world. On the one side that's interesting is this 23-year-old is making $60,000 a month, right? So there's an online business aspect to it. But the other piece that was interesting about the article was the traveling the world part. There's a lot of people who want to travel. And so what I asked myself was, how can I create as much conversation as possible? And back then, a lot of conversations were happening in Facebook groups. It was a huge platform to connect with other people around niche specific topics. So what I did was,
I wonder if, so like Rebecca said here, and this is very common knowledge that you can pay to be featured in Forbes. I wonder if they ask for proof of income, because I know, for example, Business Insider, if they reach out to feature you on their website, they require that you show them literal bank statements. So if I'm going to get featured as $1 million business owner, I have to provide proof that I actually own $1 million business. Like, that publication does their due diligence to prove that what you're saying about your success and your business is actually true. So I would be curious to know if Forbes does that, because if I can just pay to play, my assumption is no. So there's no way to know whether or not her business was actually making $60,000 a month, or if that was an inflated number or like a one-off situation. And I'm not saying either way. I'm just curious to know.
was I made a spreadsheet of, I don't even know how many, let's say 100 Facebook groups. Half of them were online business focused and half of them were travel focused. And what I basically said was, if you join my Facebook group that I'm going to put together for 24 hours only, once the article drops, I'm going to do a giveaway and I'm going to ask you to please share my article in one of the Facebook groups. And if you do that, and if you send me a screenshot, you are going to get points and you are going to be entered to win all of these giveaways. And I gave away a ton of stuff, courses, private coaching calls, the whole thing. 24 hours only, because the press cycle is so short. Think about if you're watching the news, right? You might see something on the news, unless it's like a major story, you'll hear about it once and you'll never hear about it again, right? It might be covered like 2 or 3 times over a 24-hour period based on when someone tunes into the news, but like, it's not going to be there forever. So 24 hours only, join my Facebook group where I'm going to be talking about my Forbes article, push that out. The Forbes article got 100,000 views within the first 24 hours. I think at this point, it now has about 350,000 views several years later, so it has continued to get traction. Over the years, I've done things like run Facebook ads to the Forbes article, which has been super helpful, but I really leveraged that opportunity to grow my audience in a massive, massive way. Overnight, I gained thousands and thousands of followers, and the strategy that I had really worked. And it's something that I have seen people mimic a lot when they're doing something like a podcast launch or an article launch or a book launch. They try that same strategy of putting together a Facebook group. So the next question that I kind of had for myself,
I don't really know. Does anyone think that would still work now in this day and age? Like, she's talking like that article came out in 2017 or 2018. Like, that's when peak Facebook group was happening. I don't know that you could replicate that same success. It reminds me of, is anyone familiar with Maria Wendt? She's like a pretty big coaches coaching, coaches online digital product. I make millions of dollars coach. Anyway, her strategy, and it might have changed now to like ManyChat, Instagram DM automation, but her strategy used to be how to like build a business through Facebook groups, free Facebook groups. And I remember even up to like 2022, she was still teaching that strategy. And I'm like, this is so outdated. So I don't know. I'm just skeptical that this would still work in this day and age, 2025. Gotcha. This comment says it's online and they are often advertorials and not in the actual magazine. It's a paid to brag scheme featured in is often BS. Okay, Forbes journalists and contributors may approve artificial intelligence platforms and tools for research, data analysis, and efficiency. Interesting.
Was okay, I know I'm going to be getting all of these people to my business, right? They're going to come to my website. They're going to come to my social media profiles. I had made that decision. Before they even came, I had decided all of these people are coming. The thing I then had to ask myself was, what am I going to do when these people come? So I made sure to get a website set up where I had a really big kind of, email opt-in right at the top to get them. I made sure that email opt-in would automatically redirect them to my Facebook group. I made sure all of my social media profiles were super clear about come here, do this, download this, sign up for that. So I captured thousands of people overnight. And then the other thing that I had asked myself before the Forbes article even happened was, once I get all of this attention, what am I going to do with it? So I decided I was going to drop a very, very, very low cost program. It was $297 early bird or $397 full priced for an 8-week group program that launched pretty much immediately after the Forbes article. And that was not meant to necessarily be a huge moneymaker. The reason why I did that was what I really wanted to sell was the Bali Mastermind, which is a year-long mastermind that I launched in November of 2019. So the timing of this was late August 2017, 2017, not 2019, late August 2017, the Forbes article drops. September 2017, days or weeks later, I dropped the small group program. The small group program is timed to be 2 months. After their small group program finishes, November.
Okay, I'm skipping ahead. This is boring. She's just telling a timeline. I got featured in this article. Then I sold this. Then I sold that. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go to like 30 minutes and see.
For me, I always spoke from experience and results, and I shared my own approach to business, which oftentimes went against what a lot of other people were saying. Of course, I think something that naturally happens.
I do things differently, even though 20 minutes ago I said that I listened to Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo and just copied what they were doing. But now I'm not copying anymore. Now it's my idea because I stole it from them. And because I did it, it's now my idea.
Happens is that when you do that, a lot of people copy you. So that's for sure been a struggle in my business, is every time I put something out, I notice that it gets copied a million different ways. And that is something that I think also is where I see a lot of people struggle with, because they're like, oh my gosh, all these people are copying me, so now I need to go change everything that I'm doing. People are going to copy you. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but like what they can't copy is your results. And like what they can't copy is like your application or your understanding of why you should do that thing, right? Like, I think that's just part of being a thought leader. So I spent that time writing for Entrepreneur. I focused a lot on press, a lot of radio interviews, TV interviews, news interviews, and just really focusing on sharing my unique approach to business. So I spent a lot of time developing frameworks and processes, which I had trademarked with the USPTO, and just really focused on teaching from my unique perspective on business, and also just really developing what exactly are those materials. And that did allow me also to scale and to bring in things like support coaches, because at that point, it's not just another person that I've hired to answer your questions. It's a person specifically trained in my methods and my processes, which are results driven and which are developed based on real client data.
Results driven, but nothing is guaranteed, and it's all up to your level of personal responsibility as per the disclaimer on my website.
So that really allowed me to scale, because I was no longer selling my time, I was selling my process. And something I always tell my clients is, if you sell them on your process, you have sold them on your product. So I did that. The other piece that I was really, doing that I think has allowed me to scale to 8 figures is my willingness to hold the hard things. I mentioned people copying me. It happens. If you're going to scale to 7 or 8 figures, it's going to happen to you too. But there's also, other things like a client payment defaults, or there's, an issue with a team member, or someone says something unkind about you, or, whatever it might be. Like, there's always something. And I think where a lot of people struggle is they can't hold the responsibility. A lot of people want $1 million, but they don't want $1 million business. And there is a difference. And so for me, my mindset has always been, it gets to be easy. So even if I am dealing with an issue, it gets to be easy, right? Like, there's no such thing as a business emergency. That problem will still be there on a Monday. If there is a problem, I don't necessarily need to be the one dealing with it, right? If a client emails into customer service and they're really upset because they can't figure out how to log into their course hub, which of course everyone always freaks out whenever they can't figure out anything technical. I do it as well. I don't actually need to answer that email. I don't even need to know that email exists.
Exactly. Erin says, if you're coaching people to become coaches, aren't you kind of coaching them to copy you? Exactly my thought. I'm like, if I have a whole business where my business is, I had this success, therefore you can too. I can't be upset when people copy what I do, because I'm literally teaching them to build the same business I built. Obviously, they're going to copy me. What?
I have a wonderful person in my inbox. She's been the same person there for like 4 years at this point. She answers that email perfectly. She gets them all set up, all taken care of. I didn't even know that email existed, right? Like, she just completely handled it. So as a leader, I have to be willing to hold the hard things, but I also get to understand and get to lean into getting support around holding those things, whether it's team members or attorneys or therapists or, leaning on friends and spiritual well-being. Like, all of that support is available to me to help me be the resilient leader that I need to be to hold that level of responsibility. Because when you're willing to hold responsibilities, when the cash will come in. Some other pieces that really helped me with scaling to 8 figures was focusing a lot on live events and retreats. So that Bali Mastermind, I had a 5-day retreat in Bali, which was super huge and super helpful. I hosted a live event for 150 people, 140 people or so. And at that event, I made $500,000. So I delivered content for 3 days. On the second day, I pitched for about 45 minutes on stage. In that 45-minute, 1-hour period, I sold $400,000 in programs. The next day, I collected an extra $100,000 in sales. So that was a $500K weekend.
Okay, and how are you not copying Tony Robbins? Sorry. So you're complaining that people are copying you, yet every single Tony Robbins event is a giant leads to a giant sales pitch for whatever his offer is. So you go to these retreats, masterminds, whatever, and then guess what? Tony Robbins stands on stage for 45 minutes and pitches you his program and gets you to sign up on the spot. So please explain to me how you are not copying them. Do not do as I do, for I am the only one who can do as I do. You must do as you do, and if you do as I do, I will call you a copycat. So stupid. Do her clients know that when she tells people to email her, she never even reads them? Oh, you thought I actually cared about your success? I don't. I let Sally over here deal with it.
I've done retreats in Bali, in Mexico, in Italy, in Scotland, in New York City, in Florida, in Austin, Texas. I have done VIP days. I've done big, events for 100 plus people. I've done retreats for 10, 15, 20 plus people. And all of those have been really incredible ways to make connections with clients, but I also use those as a renewal opportunity. So you are incentivized to stay in the program because you want to be at the next retreat. So as an example,
I get you. It's like an MLM. I get you to come to my live event. And even if you're in the negative, I will hype you up so hard that you sign up for another round. Let's go. Keep the iron on the fire, baby.
Hosting a retreat in Nashville, Tennessee this year in May, and then I'm hosting another retreat in New York City in November. So that gives you incentive and motivation to be in that program so that you can get that in-person time, which is so valuable. One thing that I also did that it's interesting because I'm currently in wine school, so I'm taking my WSET diploma, which the diploma is an expert level wine qualification. So I did my level 1, my level 2, my level 3. The diploma is, what wine importers have and what sommeliers have and people who work in the wine trade. So I'm doing that. And one thing we learned in our wine business course was this idea of a ladder brand. So, a champagne brand might have an accessible option, a stretch option, and an aspirational option. So an accessible option might be like a non-vintage champagne that anyone could pick up for, $35, $40. A stretch champagne might be a vintage. Let's say you get a 2016 vintage. And then an aspirational might be like their Blanc de Blanc or their Grand Cru or something like that. Like just their absolute best ball out type of champagne, right? Like think of like a Dom Perignon. That exact process that I learned in wine class is what I have always done in my business. I have my accessible, my stretch, and my aspirational programs. So my aspirational programs are always my
Again, you didn't come up with that though. That's business, baby. You always have like the base entry level, then something mid-tier, then a high ticket, right?
mastermind. That is my top tier creme de la creme program. It is where I show up, I serve, my clients get private coaching access to me. They go on retreat with me. It is deep, it is intimate, it's fast, it is personal. And so many of my clients stay in those programs for years and years and years. When I had my 30th birthday party in Miami last year,
because you're running a cult, allegedly, in my opinion. No wonder these people keep sticking around, because you convince them that they're not going to be successful without you.
I invited multiple clients from my mastermind, because they were not just my mastermind clients, they were some of my closest friends. And so I think a lot of people have seen that over the years, that I have built these really powerful friendships and connections with people.
Okay, but if they stop paying you, would they still be your closest friends? That's what I want to know. Or are you going to cut them out of the circle? Because I've heard far too many stories, both in MLM, but also in coaching, where as soon as you leave the mastermind or quit paying the coach, they cut you off and give you the cold shoulder, and it's like you never existed. And I think that can be part of the reason why people are afraid to leave, is because if you've built your whole network around all of these other people who are also coaches, as soon as you leave the coaching industry, what, suddenly now you have no friends? And you can't sit with us because you're not paying to be here. I would be curious to see exactly. She blurred the friendship client line 100%. And it's like, are those people really your friends? How many times have we heard from people in MLMs leaving an MLM and then suddenly they don't have any of the girl boss babe besties that they used to have because they're not part of the MLM anymore? It works the same in coaching.
People do want to stay year after year because they get such great results. The reason why a ladder brand works in wine or champagne or even in a business is because the program delivers, right? People come in at that accessible offer, which for me might be something like my Rich Witch membership or one of my courses or masterclasses. They get great results and then they want to ascend. So, my stretch offer has always been my Wealthy Woman Accelerator. I've been selling some version of that since 2018. It does super well. And then I have that aspirational offer. So something people have told me over and over the years is, you're my vision board coach, or like, you're on my vision board. And I heard that and I was like, that's such a sweet sentiment. And then someone sent me an actual picture in their Instagram DMs of a vision board that they had made, and they had printed out a picture of me speaking and pinned it to their vision board. I was like, oh, I'm literally the vision board coach. And that could feel frustrating because some people are like, well, just pay me now, just hire me now. But for me, I've leaned into that over the years. I'm definitely a premium brand. I'm definitely a higher end coaching experience. And also, I've been doing this for almost 10 freaking years now. I have helped over 35 women at the time of this recording hit 7 figures. There are a lot of people who can get themselves to 7 figures. There are very few people who can get someone else to 7 figures. And I say that as someone who has coached tons of business coaches to 7 figures. I have coached a lot of people to that result. That doesn't necessarily mean that other people can do it in the same way. So what
is, and maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to think, is 35 people a lot over the course of 10 years? Because that's what, on average, 3.5, so 4 people a year? I guess 4 millionaires a year is somewhat impressive, but if you've allegedly worked with 10,000 clients, then maybe not so much.
What's the difference, right, between me and someone else? Well, first of all, I think that we are all totally capable of being super successful in business. I think that we all have our own unique approach. I think that there's room for all of us. I completely agree with the sentiment that a rising tide lifts all boats. I agree with that. And I am not afraid to own my thought leadership. I am not afraid to own my client results. I am not afraid to own my...
Okay. I find it super cringy. Let me know what you think. Whenever someone calls themselves a thought leader. Like if I refer to myself, I am a thought leader. That to me, super cringe.
unique approach to business, and me doing that through my marketing is what has allowed me to build a really resilient brand with a lot of high client trust and really just going all in on those client results.
Yes, this comment is accurate as far as I understand. It says, I'm pretty sure she's only coached other business coaches to 7 figures. I believe she exclusively works with coaches, so that would be correct. She hasn't coached any like actual businesses to 7 figures other than coaches who also coach other coaches. Good point.
As an example, I have a case study series called Client Crush Case Studies, and I have put that out over the years via carousels on my Instagram, via podcast episodes on the Sabrina Phillip podcast, and also just writing those out as like full email write-ups for my email newsletter. So really focusing on client results and just articulating how I work with clients and
really focusing on client results, but never touching my inbox. If a client emails me, it's not my problem.
I would definitely encourage you to go through some of those client crush case studies, but what you'll notice is that my approach with every single client is always different. And for me, that I think is where my magic really comes in, is understanding that getting to 7 figures, let alone 8 figures, is not about copying and pasting someone else's path. But I do think it's about understanding strategy and understanding playing chess and not checkers, and thinking ahead and knowing your next 3 moves and having the mindset and having the resilience. And then when you have that kind of base level of mindset and belief and just faith in yourself, and you really think about those kind of, 3 big components, mindset, marketing, sales, you can start to make really strategic decisions by branding yourself in such a way that you're going to attract the right people to you. And so for me, really focusing on client results has been the thing. I have never been the type to have like a big structured marketing pitch. Like I've been recording this training for the last 40 minutes. And what some people would do is they would spend the next 20 minutes being like, and here's why you should come join my program. I'm going to tell you for 10 seconds right now, if you want to come hire me, you definitely should. My Millionaire Mastermind program is absolutely incredible. And that's kind of all I'm going to say about it for this episode. I'm a big believer that my value is my pitch. And so me focusing on showing up, I've done, over 120 podcast episodes. I've done over 140 live streams. I've done over 40 webinars / masterclasses. Like I've delivered so much free content. I put out over 1,000 Instagram posts. Like me showing up, me serving my audience, me serving my clients, me talking about my client results is what built my business. Me being good at my job got me from 7 figures to 8 figures. And, so many of the other things that I mentioned as well.
Me lying about my income on the internet is what got me to 7 or 8 figures. Okay, that's enough for today. I did want to see if she posted about the retreat on her Instagram highlights. It doesn't look like it though. What a shame. I guess we'll never know. I wanted to see what it was like, because she said it was in May, right? And now it's June, so it should have happened. Was it ever... No, that's March. Okay, I guess she never posted about it. Maybe it was a flop. Who knows? Seems weird because a lot of these people like to leverage their in-person activities to try and build hype on social media. Love to see it. I've put out 878 Instagram posts. I've put out a lot, and then I privated a lot of them. It takes all the cool out of it when you make people call yourself by a self-appointed nickname, thought leader. So true. All right, friends. Oh, boy. I am going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for those of you that made it to the end. For those of you that are watching the replay and made it to the end, gold star for you. Let me just say that. Thank you so much for being here. I don't have anything else to say. So thank you for suffering with me together. And may we all be thought leaders that make millions and millions of dollars. I hope you are richer now after wasting 2.5 hours of your life here with me. Okay? Appreciate you. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Whoops, 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 whoops. I don't know how to do this. Bye.